My God. My cat always makes me scratch my head. He's always trying to find like new little nooks and crannies to hide. Like we have like a little closet where we keep our laundry basket, and there's kind of like a little corner, and he likes to like open the door with his little paw and like go in the back corner and hide. And I don't know, I guess it makes him feel secure. He also has a weird obsession with our upstairs bathroom that has our shower. He likes to go like in the shower behind the curtain, and I guess it makes him feel like hidden, you know?
Interesting. Cats are funny.
Yeah. No matter how many times he's been there, though, like he still wants to try to, go there again.
Yeah. Even though you keep finding him, he's like, don't worry, this time they won't find me. This time.
We're not like trying to find him though to hurt him or anything. We're literally just
I know.
Like, we're gonna give you love or food.
I know. It's not like you're gonna attack him, but
right.
That's just the cat mindset where it's like the humans are after me again. I must hide.
Oh man, what are we doing today? A podcast? Is that what today is?
No,
I think so.
It's Monday. So wait. I think Monday's triathlon day.
Oh,
so we should not be doing this. We should be out running a triathlon.
Oh well, I no wonder I was wearing my full running track suit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why am I wearing this headband again? Oh, that's right, it's triathlon day. Here I am being a fool, thinking it was podcast day.
So you made a video over the weekend. One I don't know the actual title, so this is kind of embarrassing, but it's the review of AM2R and Metroid Samus Returns. Is that the name of the 3DS game?
Yes, that is correct.
And I watched the video, as did many other viewers, and maybe we have some new listeners or guests. Welcome to Level With Me. You'll learn our jargon in the next few hours. But yeah, I really liked the video. I think you did a really good job. I know you were talking to me how this was like something you've been working on for a while, and with like, moving and house hunting, I'm sure that's like kind of held you back on like, well, not really held you back, but kind of just like hindered the production of this being made. But I don't know, do you just have any like words you want to say about the video like releasing, or like how it's doing right now?
Well, yeah, I do want to say thank you very much for those kind words. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. I'm happy some of our fans, our viewers, are enjoying it. Yeah, it's my third Metroid video that I made for my my YouTube channel, and because it was actually, I have to give kudos to you, because you were the one who actually really inspired me to do it. Because like you mentioned how, like, hey, if this is something that you're passionate about, if you like it, talk about it on YouTube. Yeah. You just got to get in front of the camera and do it. So I did with it, and so I do have you to thank for making these videos possible. Because I wasn't going to be doing them. I was going to specifically focus on just collectibles. And admittedly, I do think they are a bit not contradicting, but they just don't fit in with my Collector's Vault channel, which kind of stinks. Even some of the Let's Plays that I did. So I'm happy to have a channel like Level With Me where I can focus on games. And so it kind of makes me feel like the Metroid videos and Metroid discussions or Let's Plays, obviously, they all fit very well. They're all at home at Level With Me. So I might even do like some re-uploads of the old videos, just that way people can, like, so some of our listeners, some of our fans can actually watch those videos as opposed to them maybe never seeing them on the Collector's Vault channel.
It's funny enough that you say I'm the one who inspired you, because after I watched that video, it kind of made me even think about, like, I wonder if I can make a video kind of like this, and was thinking about taking a look at some of my favorite video game series and doing something similar. Cool. Yeah. I enjoy, I don't know if you'd call that like a review type video, but that kind of like style where it's like very heavily edited with like you did a really good job like stating your points on each particular subject, whether it be about the music or the gameplay or the graphics, whatever. But yeah, I would love to do a video like that in the future, and I'm excited to see. I mean, even if you would re-upload the videos or make new videos in the future, I really like that style. I know it takes a lot of time, especially with all that editing, and I don't even know if you like wrote down a script or something you were reading, but you did a really good job.
Oh, thank you. Well, I did actually write a script for these. Like, I think this is the 4th video that I did where I wrote a script. The very first one I ever did was actually when I talked about I think you saw this, the Pokemon promotional VHS.
Yeah.
I made a video about that, and I felt like there's going to be so much dialogue here as opposed to me trying to think of it on the spot, because I know, I'm sure I'll stutter, I'll stammer. Let me just write it out, and then I'll be able to read it and record my voice, and I felt like it'd be. Yeah, I think it definitely works out for the best. I mean, I think that's what most, maybe that's what many YouTubers do when they do those kinds of videos. They write it.
Absolutely.
They write a script. Yeah.
It's
so there's so much to talk about. Yeah, because there's so much to talk about. So you don't want to. And you don't want to miss on any points. Even just going back and rereading it, it made me realize, okay, this I can delete. I don't need to talk about this. It's kind of like you can throw all the ideas out there, and then you just trim the fat, and then you find the best stuff to talk about. But yeah.
How long would you say that video like actually took? Like, when did you start working on that video? The AM2R Samus Returns
video. I definitely started that back in like, I want to say late February.
Okay.
Maybe mid to late February, and then like that's right where the pandemic hit, and I thought, oh, cool, I'll have plenty with the pandemic. I'll have plenty of time to work on this, and it just never happened. Because I kept working and but anyway, but I'll do it here and there. But man, the actual how long it took again, like it took since the middle of like late February, I would say, to be conservative. Like late, gosh, it's already July, so what's that, like 4 months? Oh my gosh. But anyway, like actual hours wise, I really couldn't tell you. Probably like. Man, because I'll put like 2 hours in a night sometimes. Like I would say well over 24 hours as far as like editing and rewatching, checking the sounds, like the quality checking on everything. Even like when I was just working on it, like like over the last like 2 weeks, I think I probably put in like another like 4 to 6 hours of just like, again, it was only like a day here and there because I was moving, but like a couple hours a night. So I would say like. It took a very good while to do. Well, and it's funny because it's only like 28 minutes long, but then all those hours of the edit, like that's just all that time and effort goes into the editing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I understand. Yeah. I don't want the whole podcast to be just about us, talking about our content. But I did want to promote it because I thought it was cool.
Thank you, Corey.
Lastly, I just want to ask you, what's like your favorite like little clip or like maybe a little joke in the video? Like, what was one that you were like really proud of or you thought was like the funniest thing?
I actually didn't have as many jokes as I wanted in there. I'm trying to think.
It could even just be like an edit or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm funny. You're kind of putting me on the spot here because in the other M review, I actually made some funny comments making fun of Anthem. That was probably like my favorite part.
Okay.
But in this video, probably, I guess making fun of other M's because it's like a meme fruit now. But I actually, and again, just to reiterate, like I actually like other M. So for any of the listeners or the viewers of who visit our channel, oops, sorry, I left my cell phone. I'll re-upload the other M video because I really do feel like it's a video that it's a game that just gets so much hate, and the game is really not that bad. I actually enjoy it. It's not my favorite Metroid game, but man, it makes me laugh because it's just like a meme of how much people hate it. So that's why I really wanted to give my 2 cents on the subject and say, like, here, as a Metroid fan, I was not like, super mad about the game. Like, it's kind of like we're seeing. It's kind of this is probably very relevant, but we're kind of seeing that now with The Last of Us. There's so much hate around that game.
Yeah,
but I'm sure I know plenty of people who say that they really enjoy it. I'm sure you're one of them too. Like, I mean, I'm really enjoying your. I'm actually watching your Let's Play like exclusively. That's how I'm getting my knowledge of the game.
Awesome.
And so far, I think it's pretty cool. I wish I could play it, but yeah, like this is a game where like for reasons that we're all aware of, there's a lot of hater on the game where people completely just bash it and give it like 0 out of 10 review, and it's like that's just so flawed because the game, like it's not that bad of a game. People can have opinions. People can say how they don't like certain things about it, and that's kind of where I think like these kind of like review videos can become really helpful and very informative because they can acknowledge all of these. They can acknowledge the flaws, but then they're also there to acknowledge the positives. That's kind of like the importance of making these videos.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I even think it's like a good thing to enlighten people, if they've never played AM2R or even Samus Returns. I know that's not as old of a game,
No.
but some people may have never even looked at them. Some people might be new to the Metroid series. Who knows? Maybe they just played they just think Samus is a cool character from Smash, and they want to learn about the character. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because, like, on Facebook, I'm actually like part of like some Metroid like fan groups, and I shared the video there saying, "Hey guys, like," and I think this is probably where more of the viewers came from for a level with me. Like,
okay.
I said, "Hey guys, come and check out this video I finally finished," and some people actually commented saying, "Like, look, I already heard enough about AM2R and Samus Returns, and it sounds like Samus Returns is a terrible game. AM2R is just better in every way." And I commented and I said, "Oh, did you play the games?" And he says, "I don't have to. I heard enough about them." And I'm like, "Oh, you're like this is why I make these videos because it's for people like that who just I'm not saying watch my video and take everything I say as gospel, but I'm saying like I'm someone who played the games and these are my viewpoints. I'm telling people play for yourself.
Yeah,
make your own opinions. Don't
100%. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's those people that it sounds very stubborn to just be like, oh yeah, because I feel like they're just formulating their opinion from maybe one, if not multiple other people's opinions, and that's definitely not the way to go. I've been down that road before, and you got to play a game yourself, and don't be ashamed if you like the game that everyone else hates, because you're allowed to like whatever you want.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like, and this is obviously going out to all of our listeners too. Like, it's true. Like, if you like something that's not like the most popular, who cares?
You could love Anthem. Mike might not like it, but that's okay. Keep playing Anthem.
Admittedly, disclaimer: I never played Anthem, but again, it's another game that has gotten a lot of hate. But then again, it's EA, so I don't really care. I'll bash that all I want. But I'm not being like sincere. That was like a joke that I made on the video. I mean, like, here's a good example, and I don't want to delve too deep into this, but, like, you're obviously a Zelda fan, right, Corey?
Yes.
I've met people who said that they refuse to play Skyward Sword. And I don't know what your opinions are on the game, but up until I played Breath of the Wild, and it's probably still, like, teetering, I'm not quite sure, but I thought Skyward Sword was my favorite Zelda game of all time. Ever since I played it, it was, like, my favorite of all time. I love Skyward Sword. The controls weren't the best, but they were still fun. But I loved the game's visuals, the story. I loved everything. I honestly loved everything about that game, minus like a few little things here and there. But then there's some people who say they refuse to play the game because they hear, oh, but I heard the Wii controls are terrible. It's like, but play the game for yourself and find out.
I'm gonna show my fake gamer card here again and just say that I've actually never played Skyward Sword. It's not due to any sort of criticisms about the game itself. It's just I've never got a chance to actually sit down and play it. I actually don't even own the game myself. I see it many times in like at used video game stores or something like that, and I always want to pick it up, but I'm just like not right now because it really hasn't lost too much value. I think it's still like around $30 to $40, which is reasonable. It's a Zelda game, but from my opinion, just looking at it and seeing very minor bits of gameplay, I haven't really watched like a lot of the game like in depth. I think it looks cool. I like the art style. minded it's a little more cartoony than what like Twilight Princess was, but that's Twilight Princess aesthetic is very dark. But I think it looks cool. I like how there's actual weapon upgrades in that, like your sword and your shield like upgrade. Like I think that's interesting. Yeah. It looks like there's like fun mechanics in there, like flying whatever the bird is called like around, and that like beetle like item, whatever it's called. Like I don't know, it looks interesting to me. It's definitely something I would like to play in the future. Who knows? Maybe we'll LP it. I don't know.
Oh man, I would love to LP that
because I don't know like barely anything. I know that has Girahim or whatever his name is, and he looks like a cool boss.
He's a great villain. He really is. Here's the thing: did you know that this is the first game chronologically in Zelda timeline?
Yes, I heard that. Yep.
And so it delves into so much. Like again, story wise, it actually is amazing. And
I think it's interesting that like Zelda isn't even really a princess. She kind of just is like she lives in your town. And of course, there's all the funny memes with like Groose and all, like his gang, you know.
Honestly, Groose, the characters are so good. I mean, like many Zelda games, there's all these great characters that you meet. Like some are just ordinary townspeople, but there are some great characters in this game. And again, I could do like a whole podcast talking about this. Maybe I should be talking about this later, like actually at like the
when we get to.
But like, I will just say this one now: that one of the best parts about the game Skyward Sword is the relationship between Link and Zelda. Like you as Link really do actually want. I'll go into detail later, actually, because I did play that game not that long ago, so maybe I'll treat that as my watch replay portion. Okay, but I'll say right now, like the best part about the game for me, I guess, kind of part of the story is the relationship between Link and Zelda. It is just so perfect. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. I'll go into more detail at the end of the podcast.
I mean, kind of like reiterating what you were saying, though, to be a big fan of a game series and actually play all of the titles in most of them. I'll point to Kingdom Hearts. I'm pretty familiar with all those games. The only one I really haven't played is Birth by Sleep, which is a big deal, but I've watched all the cutscenes. I know all the story in that game. It's like a prequel, essentially. But yeah, I like Chain of Memories, and I like Chain of Memories, the one on the Game Boy. That's the card game. I think those games are fine. Like, a lot of people are like, it's the card game. It's not what Kingdom Hearts is. And you're right. It's not. But I kind of like what they went for. And I like the aesthetic of the cards. I think they look cool. I like the collecting cards and like trying to get the different... Like, there's kind of like a complexity to it because you can combine like the cards and... You know, if you add, basically when you add the numbers up, you get, like, a big number. But if you have a 0 card that can beat any number, that's, like, the exception. Like, the 0 is, like, an ace. Like, it'll just wipe out everything. So you can, like, counter plays. The combat is definitely interesting. But, yeah, like, I like those games. And I feel like those games always get shit on, so.
Yeah. I guess, like, just to kind of sum it all up, I guess, like, when you're, like, you being a fan of, like, Kingdom Hearts... I'm sure it's triggering to hear another supposedly Kingdom Hearts fan that says, I refuse to play that game.
Right.
Or even give it a shot. It's like, why wouldn't you give it a shot?
Right.
Yeah. Like, here's something I actually will admit. For Metroid, again, my favorite game series of all time, I've never played Federation Force. And that's, again, another game that has a lot of hate towards it, but I haven't played it just because I simply haven't gotten it. I actually am mad at myself for not giving the game a chance, but I want to. I'm not saying I refuse to play the game. Like, when I get a chance, I'm going to try to pick the game up for cheap, and I do want to experience it for what it is. And again, delve into the lore. I do know most of the. I googled and wikied most of the lore anyway, but I still just want to experience it for myself. It's just, I don't know. I think that kind of helps like really distinguish you from being like a real fan. Even like for Zelda fans who've never actually gone back and played the originals. I'm not saying you have to go back and play Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and think, these are the best. But like why wouldn't you want to just go back and just experience it? You know, just to experience. This is the foundation of your favorite game series. Go back and see how it originated, and then it helps you. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but by doing that, then you the game more.
Yeah,
it's one of the main reasons why A Link to the Past is so beloved, because it did so much right from what the first two games, started. Like, they introduced so many good concepts, and A Link to the Past just wrapped it all up into one great game. I guess you can say the same for Super Metroid. It took the first two games and took the best parts of them and made supposedly one of the greatest games of all time. You know, like it's all relevant. It's all relative.
I think this is just something that you'll always have in fandoms, especially with these very.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I want to say retro game series, but like basically titles that have been around for years, like Mario, like Zelda, like Metroid. You know, Sonic. There are always there are always like really. There's like one or two really bad games surrounding like all these amazing games. You know,
yeah.
No one on that Metroid group is probably talking about how bad the original Metroid Prime or Zero Mission or anything like that. You know, It's just there's always one that's like, oh, that one's the worst, but it's like, yeah, it's the worst out of all the other good games. You know?
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing. It's like, it's funny that you mentioned that. It's like, even though this might be the worst game, it's like, because in my Metroid Other M review, I said the game might not be a great Metroid game, but as a standalone game, it's fine. You know?
Exactly.
It's just, yeah. And actually, it's kind of funny that you mentioned Sonic. Sonic is notorious for having a lot of bad games ever since like the 2000s and everything.
Yeah, that might have not been a good example.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because the funny thing is, his best games, in my opinion, are the classic ones from like the very first games are the best. It's only like the newer games can be like there are some good newer Sonic games, but to me, I've always felt that the original games are always going to be the best. Classic Sonic.
Mike, I highly agree with you as someone who's actually never really played any of the Sonic games. And I think we can facilitate your argument and just see the reception of Sonic Mania, whatever that new, like, kind of remade or reimagined version of the original Sonic games. Like, that game did so well. It was receptionally received very highly, you know, like 9s and 10s. If I would play a Sonic game, I would play that.
Oh yeah, I would say if you wanted to go and play Sonic Mania, and then you can go back. I mean, I would say there's no problem going back and playing Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. But like if you really wanted to play Sonic Mania, it's modernized, it's refined. It's like Zero Mission. It's kind of like playing Zero Mission and going back and playing like Super Metroid.
Sonic 06. Oh.
Okay.
I gotta know the story.
We don't speak of that game.
It's no use.
I've never even. How about this? I never even played that game, but again, I've watched Let's Plays, and I understand why people hate it. But
you know, I am now just having a flashback to when I was probably 11 or 12, and cue me and one of my good friends, Second State, sitting in his parents' house, playing on I think GameCube, the infamous Shadow the Hedgehog. We were playing split screen multiplayer, which is just like a big arena where you pick up guns and shoot each other as anthropomorphic hedgehogs.
Damn, not here.
My childhood, what was it?
Oh, man.
Shadow. He pointed, he pricked me with his edge. Ow, damn. Someone give me a Band-Aid.
He cursed at you and it hurt your feeling.
Look, guys, usually in the beginning of the podcast here, before we officially start, we talk about our weeks, and as you guessed it, I clearly did nothing important. I mostly sat in my apartment and cleaned, in quotations, or just worked on content / played video games. I got really nothing to say. Did you anything important this week, Mike, or should we just start the podcast?
I think we're better off just starting the podcast, but I'll humor you and listeners by saying what I did this week, and believe me, nothing impressive. I was actually sorting all of my cards because, like, now that, as I've mentioned many times, you know, we moved a couple weeks ago, and we're still unloading a few things. We actually finally got furniture in for the bedrooms, and now we're able to unload some more boxes full of clothes. But yeah, so I'm sorting all my cards, and now my table is starting to get a little bit messy again because there's all these cards on top of it. So I just gotta keep sorting. Which is very therapeutic, by the way. So I don't really I don't dislike it. It's just that it's very time consuming.
I've done it before. It's
pretty
fun.
I'm sure you. Yeah, like it's very satisfying when you're done, but like before you know it, it's like, my God, the last 2 hours just flew by, and all I've done was sort cardboard. That's just how it is. So, I was also. I'm so good.
I was just gonna say, sometimes when I used to do that too, I would always find like one card that I like never really looked at. Like I kind of just quickly was like, oh, whatever. and I just like appreciate the art of like the one random like comment I found, and it'd be like, oh, this card looks pretty cool, or oh, this is an interesting card, and then move on back to the thousands of other random cards.
Can I ask you right now to look up a card?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I actually made a video. I did a pack battle. It's not on YouTube yet. I'm actually waiting for my friend Jamie at Casual Ubisoft to do his video, and then we're gonna upload together at the same time.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So I did my pack opening. He did his pack opening. We'll do a little battle. See who gets the best pulls. But in the video, a bit of a spoiler for all the listeners. As I was opening up one of the packs of Absolute Power Force, which is one of the 5D sets, there was a card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Called Oil Man. I want you to look it up. I just want you to look at this card.
I feel like I've seen that. Oh, yep, there it is.
You probably have, but it's like it's a superhero, but it's an oil can. It's like an oil can superhero, and he has a cape on, and on his chest it says "The Hero's Oil." It's a very look. I think even in the video, I couldn't help but speak out loud, and I said, "What in God's name is this?"
It's literally just a living oil can, like just an oil can, and they put some robot limbs on him and a cape.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love it too. That's a good one. I actually did remember something I did, but you were about to say something else you did, so you want to finish your thought first?
I'm sorry, I'll finish my thought. Yeah, I was just saying how I was going through some of my PSA graded cards. Just not saying I'm not. Like, I have to explain myself. I'm not depressed. I'm not sad. But sometimes when I have like a rough day and like Amanda's still at work and I'm by myself, sometimes again I just take out some of my cards and I just like looking at them. It's
you
like
appreciate them.
Yeah. And I was just looking at. It's funny. I was just looking at this one. I put it on Instagram. I was looking at one of my Raikus, the Thunder Dog from the Johto series, and I was so happy to think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I never noticed before. There's a WotC Hollow swirl on the card, and I don't know why I never noticed it before, and it just made me smile.
That is cool.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that just means like in the hollow foil, like on the shiny part of the card, there's a little like. It looks like a little like spiraling vortex, a little swirl, and it's like a big kind of like thing in the Pokemon trading card community for those old school cards that have that swirl, because not all of them have it, and it's I don't know, it's the little things in life.
Raikou is one of the weirdest of the dogs. He's like got saber-toothed tiger teeth.
One of the weirdest? Wait, why would you say that? I'm looking at him right now. I think he's not my favorite, but I think he's pretty cool. Yeah, you're right. He has like saber-toothed tiger teeth and a cloud on his back, and his tail looks like a thunderbolt.
I take it back. Yeah, he is pretty cool. I'm gonna have a hot take right now, and I don't mean to like get into a whole conversation here, but I definitely prefer the dogs to the birds from Gen 1. I think they're way cooler. They have way more stuff going on. Like Entei, like what the hell? He's got like arm bracelets. He's got the spikes. I mean, Entei is awesome. So they're all pretty cool, honestly.
You know what, Corey? I'm glad you mentioned that. I love the legendary birds too. Again, classic Gen 1. Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres. They're awesome. They really are. But I do think the legendary dogs were cooler too.
They got a lot more. Suicune's got like the cool like tentacle things, like or whatever they're supposed. I don't know. They're neat.
You know what? I think I look at more because in Smash Bros. They were actual playable Pokemon, or they were the Pokemon you can get in the Pokeball. So that kind of made me appreciate that more when I was playing Smash Bros.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
pretty sure. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The legendary birds are they? Yeah. They were in the Pokeballs.
I think you can get Moltres and Articuno. For some reason, I think they left out all the electric ones, like Raikou and Zapdos. I don't think were in the Pokeballs.
No. I'm sorry. I think they are in the game. Why did I forget that?
You can get trophies of them.
You get trophies.
Or spirits in Ultimate.
Oh, that sounds cool. Oh, wait, now I remember. Yeah, Moltres was the least impressive because he didn't do anything. It was just if you touch him, it would kill you.
Yeah, it was like an instant.
I think Zapdos and Articuno would actually like shoot ice or lightning at you. I forget. It's been a while since I played Melee, so.
Yeah, I don't even know because one, items are for losers, and B, there's like 800 Pokemon, so I don't even know which ones they took out and added in. You know, it's like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, oh, I totally forgot because all I ever did was play Fox vs. Fox on Final Destination No Items.
The true way to play.
Yeah.
Even though one GameBroCorey never could unlock the Final Destination stage, I could never beat that 51. What were they called? Like the missions, the one where you have to defeat Giga Bowser, Mewtwo, and Ganon. I couldn't beat it. I'm a fake gamer. I could never beat that one.
Gosh, come on, Corey.
It's hard.
Admittedly, they are tough. I think the first time I beat it with Luigi of all characters, because Bowser was so big. So when I did Luigi's uppercut move, the up B move, it always worked on him.
Yeah, that's a good strat.
I think that's how I beat him, and then I just had to fight Mewtwo and Ganondorf on my own, and they weren't so like once you get rid of Giga Bowser, then the playing field's so much more balanced.
I bless the creators of the Smash Brothers series for just making Battlefield and Final Destination like starting stages after Brawl. Like you could just pick them right away. I'm like, thank you. The normal stages are just there from the get go.
Yeah, it's like cool. I can finally just play a stage with no hazard and just enjoy it for what it is.
And now in Ultimate, you can turn the hazards off. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I love how any stage can be this. Any stage can be Final Destination. With the aesthetic, which I think is really, really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, each of them have their... Okay. We don't need to go down the Smash is Ultimate, or the Smash is Amazing rabbit hole.
That's a very deep rabbit hole. We'll be talking about that forever.
And then it just, like, spirals into, oh, yeah, they did such great representation of Kid Icarus. Oh, let's talk about Kid Icarus for an hour.
Yeah. And then it's 4 hours later, and we're going, wait.
Where's the new F-Zero game? Oh, God, it's 11 p.m. already.
Don't get me started on new F-Zero game, because I actually was going to talk about that at some point. Would
have been great if that Way Forward game wasn't Bakugan. I guess we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but
oh my gosh!
All right.
I think it's time, maybe. Yeah.
Quick thing that I did for my week that I wanted to shout out.
Okay.
So last week, me and my girlfriend actually went out somewhere. I will say, in the United States, the cases of COVID-19 have been skyrocketing, so please be safe if you are going outside. Make sure you wear your mask and wash your hands, keep social distancing, yada, yada, yada. You guys all know this. But anyways, we decided to venture out. We went to Hershey, Pennsylvania. And for those of you who don't know, that is where Milton Hershey, I guess, invented and founded, like, the Hershey Chocolate Company and, like, Hershey Chocolate. Like, so there's a little bit of history. You know, I know Pennsylvania isn't known for any other historical fact besides Hershey.
Yeah, Hershey and Penn State.
Rocky. Yeah, we got him too.
Oh, yeah. The Italian guy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But anyways, when we went there, it was a fun time. We actually don't live that far away from Hershey, so we usually like to go there at least once a month. But, you know, because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to go there since probably like February or something like that, like right before it started. So they actually just recently opened up there's an amusement park there and also the little like area before, which is kind of like a big gift shop. There's like a food court, there's like a bakery, and there's even like a little ride that you can go on in this, like, it's kind of like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like if you're a visitor center, if you will, giving you a brief history of how this place was founded and how they make the candy. And there's like a little ride that you kind of go through, and it's like a dark ride, like almost, you know, like you're seated and there's a bunch of animatronics. It's kind of cool. But anyways, the moral of this story is we had a good time, but we had a big belly laugh as we were walking out of the chocolate ride. There's usually always someone there to give you a little piece of chocolate to be like, hey, you know, here's the fruit of all this labor, this delicious candy. And me and my girlfriend guarantee that they put something in the candy they give you after the ride because it always tastes really good. That's a little tinfoil hat, though. Let me throw that off.
I think that's the cocaine. They put that in the chocolate.
Oh, cocaine? Cocoa? Yeah, it's similar.
Technically, they did make chocolate from cocaine, I think. Or it was a main ingredient, I think. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Coca-Cola. That's what it is.
Close enough. There's a lot of sugar in both of them.
Yeah, definitely some tinfoil hat theories going on. But the point is, I'm pretty sure there's some drugs in that chocolate, and that way you say, Corey, we have to go back. We have to go back to this place.
Probably.
I need my fix.
I mean, funny enough, when you walk into this like visitors center thing, it's huge. I feel like I'm underselling it saying visitor center, but when you walk in, they just blast you with like scents of like chocolate. It smells so good. Like just melted chocolate just blasting like air. They just have I don't know where it's coming from, but it smells amazing. Anywho, we're walking out, we're gonna get our free candy, and we see the guy who's handing it out, and he's just like in the corner, and we're like, oh my god, is he okay? Like we kind of almost thought like maybe he was like upset or crying or something, but he was just like in the corner, and I think he sneezed and then started like hacking up a lung. And me and my girlfriend just looked at each other and quickly walked past. We didn't even get the candy. And then we get down, like...
You bolted for the exit.
We get down 2 stairs. And we just look at each other and we're like, what the fuck was that, dude? And we just keep walking. My girlfriend's in, like, shock. I'm also in shock. And then I just let out the biggest belly laugh. I was literally... My belly hurt. Because they're like, how is this okay? Oh. How did he get to work? He was coughing up a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. And the best part is, I bet he or she, his or her boss probably has no idea that he was caught up a lung, because he won't go to the boss and say, "Hey, I'm not feeling too well." No, come in. You have to sell chocolate. You have to give away free chocolate.
I shouldn't have outed who it was. I don't want that person to get in trouble. It was just really funny.
I mean, you should just yell, "Naruna!"
And there were more people. Like, there were people in front of us, and they did the same thing. Actually, I think they just reached their hand in and probably took more than... You're supposed to take 1 chocolate each, but I think they just took a handful, like a bunch of degenerates.
So they were just like, "Look, the guy's not looking. Let's just snag some more candy." The guy's dying. Here, quick, grab some more chocolate.
Oh my god, it's hurting my belly just laughing about it again. Man. That cracked me up so much. I'm like, how did he get into work? We literally had to be like screened our temperatures before we could even get into this visitor center thing.
You know what's funny? Maybe something very harmless happened, like a bug flew in his mouth. But then we're just like, oh my god, 2319! We've been 2319!
Cue the hazmat team.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
All the TVs turn to that like Fallout thing that's like, please stand by.
Yeah. Robert Smith, please stand by to be decontaminated. He's like, oh, what's happening?
Hey, I had a good time. I'll go back there.
Nice.
We also have a good time going into... There's like a bunch of big like hotels around Hershey, and we just loiter in the lobby. We'll buy like a snack or something. Okay, get this, ladies and gentlemen. How does this make sense? The best milkshakes aren't on the premises of this visitor center. You have to go off campus, I guess, and go to a hotel to get the best milkshakes. That's some little insider information. Don't buy them there.
Do tell. Which hotel was this?
Well, if you're in the Hershey, Pennsylvania area, there are 2 major Hershey hotels. The Hershey Hotel and the Hershey Lodge. And they're technically both owned. They're like the same. It's all like in Hershey. But go to the Hershey Lodge and you go to the Cocoa Beanery is what it's called. It's a little snack bar / you can get like coffee drinks or ice cream there. And they always have 5 different specialty or couple different specialty milkshakes, but they're pretty good. That's where I always go. Now in the visitor center thing, that's where you go if you just want, let's get basic bitch, like just a Reese's peanut butter cup milkshake or just like chocolate or vanilla. Like, you don't want that, all right? You want to go to the Cocoa Creamery where you can get a oatmeal cookie milkshake. You can get a Bananas Foster milkshake. That's the one I got. You can get a peaches and cream milkshake. You can get the ultimate chocolate milkshake. And these are quality milkshakes. That's where you go. I spilled the beans, though, so now I'm probably not... I blew up my cover. I can't go there anymore. People are going to be scoping out the area, be like, where's GameBroCorey? Is that him? He got milkshake. It's probably him.
Sir. I noticed you have a milkshake. Are you the GameBroCorey?
No. No autographs, please.
Ladies, please, contain your orgasms. Leave me alone.
I mean, I don't know why I'm the one saying that. You're the one who has, like, 1 million views on that Metroid video. That's probably why your phone was blowing up. 1 million views. You're probably getting a bunch of messages from all those people. They're like, Mike, we love you. Here's money.
Oh, yes, all 58 views. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1 million, give or take.
Yes, all 58 of them are women. Yes, all saying, my God, Mike, how do you do it? How do you do these videos?
And your fiance's like, back off, he's mine.
Yeah, she's getting ready to start punching out some ladies. Just like, back off, he's mine, bitches.
A bunch of flying fist emojis in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get going here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Level With Me podcast, episode 57. I'm one of your hosts, GameBroCorey, and I'm accompanied by my co-host, Mike. How's it going, Mike?
That's going pretty good, Corey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level With Me. We have some pretty cool stuff to talk about today. Or at least I assume so. Corey is the one who's in charge of all the articles, so I'm kind of going out on a whim here, thinking that he has some good
Mike,
stuff.
I unfortunately have all lame stories. I'm sorry to enlighten you.
Well, this is not a good way to start the podcast, I'll tell you that.
Yes, and unfortunately our first lame story here is, I hate to say it, but if you're a fan of the Star Wars animated series like the Clone Wars, you will not be getting a new series. Or wait, maybe you will. Yeah, you are actually. Disney confirmed it today. Star Wars, The Bad Batch, Lucasfilm's next animated series revealed for Disney Plus. We're hopping right in. I mean, it's technically not gaming news. We cover some like movies and, you know, series news sometimes when it's related to things we like. Anyways, though, with the Star Wars Clone Wars recently ending its 7-season run, Lucasfilm is developing a new spin-off series called Star Wars The Bad Batch. The new series will focus on the titular, is that how you say that? Titular, excuse me.
The titular.
I love me some titular. Team previously introduced in the opening storyline from the Clone Wars Season 7. Star Wars The Bad Batch will premiere on Disney Plus at some point in 2021. So I'm actually not too familiar with this. You watched the final season of the Clone Wars, is that correct?
That is correct, Corey.
So can you kind of like give me a too long, didn't read synopsis on this Bad Batch, which I assume is what looks to be some sort of like renegade group of clone troopers?
Sure. They're not renegade. It's more like in the very last season of Clone Wars, which was very good. It had a couple story arcs. I think I mentioned this before in the one podcast how the one story arc focusing on Ahsoka was great. One part of it was like her and like the very first little mini arc of her was kind of boring, I thought, with her and these two other like junkers, whatever. And the very first arc was actually delving more into the actual troopers, like with the some of the main like clone troopers that know Obi-Wan Kenobi and know Ahsoka, and they meet, or I should say they request the assistance of like a special forces, like kind of like a special elite force of the clone troopers called the Bad Batch.
Ooh.
And yeah, so and they were cool. There was only like 2 or 3 episodes, and maybe like 3 episodes with these guys, and they're cool because like they're all, I think there's like 4 of them, and they are just clone troopers. But yeah, they obviously look a lot different. Some of them are, the one guy is like extra tall. The one guy has like I think a couple of them have like tattoos on their faces and everything. So they all look very different, and they're distinguishable, which is pretty cool. But then they all also have really cool attributes. Like the one guy was super strong, like way stronger than any average trooper. The other guy was like, I think the one guy was like a tech junkie, like he could like fix and repair anything. The other guy was like a really good sharpshooter. So they were just like a real cool batch of like kind of like a special strike team that they only called in for special missions. That's kind of what they were. And unfortunately, you know, we only see them for those couple episodes, and then the story continues more to focus on like Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, which is fine. But I think it's pretty cool that they're going to delve into a little mini series about these guys. I mean, at this point, obviously, anything new that involves Star Wars, I'm excited for. Like, I love getting more content, more backstory. It's all enriching to me. So I'm pretty excited for this.
I just simply searched Star Wars The Bad Batch in Google, and if you go to Google Images, if anyone wants to know what the group of them look like, you can find pictures. I don't know if this is technically a spoiler, but they look pretty cool. I'm into these designs. I'm getting slight vibes of the I'm blanking on the term here. Are they like the Death Troopers? What were those like black stormtroopers that were in Rogue One?
Rogue One, yeah. I think they're called. I hear two names. I call them Dark Troopers, but I think they're called either Dark Troopers or Death Troopers.
Yeah, I love them, by the way. They have really cool like black armor designs. Yeah. Like they're supposed to be like a very tough, like elite version of the stormtroopers. Yeah. And that's kind of the vibes I'm getting from this ragtag group of the Bad Batch. Yeah, except they're good guys.
Yeah, kind of like commandos. You know, these are like
there you go. Exactly. Yeah. But that seems really interesting. I really need to dive into that Clone Wars animated series.
You're missing out, Corey.
I loved. I don't know if you've seen this, Mike, or anyone else has seen this, but I loved the original 2D animated clone series that they did before Episode 3 came out. That was like a little movie, and it had like the origins of Grievous. It had that cool bounty hunter that was almost like a hunter from Halo. How he had like he has a bunch of worms. There was that cool Sith girl who had like the dual lightsaber. She was bald. I don't remember the characters' names. I can't remember any names. Asajj, yeah. But I love that series, and it's the same like art style. It's just 2D.
Yeah, I actually thought it was neat. It was very it almost reminded of Samurai Jack, like that kind of art style. I thought, it was very good. It didn't last very long. Maybe like seasons, I think.
No. But something that's really cool about that is that actually does fill the gap between Episode 2 and Episode 3, where I feel like the Clone Wars stuff is a little more like blurring the movie and what happened, but you can actually watch like that animated Clone Wars. I forget what it's called. It's like it's older, but it actually ends right where Episode 3 begins, which is in that like space battle with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like it shows how they got there. It shows Anakin getting his like how he got that scar on his face. Like there's like actually a lot of cool lore in there. Also Mace Windu being a badass. Yoda has like that goat thing he rides. Oh, I love that. I might go watch that this weekend. I love that.
I'll have to go back and watch it. I know I watched like the first couple seasons. I don't think I never finished it. I think it was just called Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah. Also,
it's just but I think again you even watched the CGI Clone Wars. That the very last season does a very good job of going right in
I've heard that.
3. So now I'm concerned, thinking, man, I hope they didn't like retcon anything. Because I'm pretty sure the 2D Clone Wars series is all canon. Like I'm pretty sure everything in there is canon.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go back and rewatch it now. Because you're right, it does introduce us to Grievous. That's where he came from.
Yeah, like he's so like he's one of my favorite villains in the Star Wars series. I think he's so interesting to look at, and I like his gimmick of how he takes the lightsabers of the Jedi he's killed, and that's his like weapons. Trophies. And he actually like is full powered in this animated series, and you see how Obi-Wan hurts him, and that's why he's like all coughing and shit in the third movie, but. Yeah, because Grievous always gets shit on it. Every time I watch Episode 3, I always point out to everyone how I love Grievous, and then I'm like, look, he just runs away all the time. Isn't he so cool? He gets shafted in Episode 3. He should have killed Obi-Wan when it was like the spinning death blades of lightsabers that he just... what a shame. What a shame.
Main character immunity, man.
Exactly. And then he just gets shot in his like gut... Grievous, I feel you, man.
Grievous, no.
He had such potential. He's so cool. I love it. Anyways,
he is cool. They do delve into a lot of his backstory.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
It's good.
And how like that whole race, like I'm a Star Wars nerd. I don't want to get into it.
The listeners, the point of this is go and watch Star Wars.
Yes.
That's the point of this. Go and watch Star Wars.
Go watch all 9 movies. Well, technically there's 11 movies, and then you have to watch all the Clone Wars, so that's like...
Yeah.
Don't forget the Christmas special.
Yes, and go play all the video games, because some of them are canon as well.
Read all the books, then forget you read the ones that aren't canon anymore, and read the new books.
Go read the Star Wars Expanded Universe, just to be disappointed to know that Disney said that it's not canon. And then people are still really butthurt about that.
And then also watch Spaceballs, and then you're done.
Well, you have to. That has to be the last thing you watch. It's the culmination of everything Star Wars. It's Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, the blanket. Spaceballs the toilet paper. Spaceballs.
Spaceballs the towel.
Mel Brooks, I love you.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Let's steer back into. Hey, video games. That's what we're #1 video game podcast in the world, and
despite all the tangents,
right? I believe this actually happened. Yeah, yesterday. Ubisoft had kind of like their not E3 press conference type event thing. So they announced a couple things here, which are pretty cool. It was called Ubisoft Forward, which was kind of like their Nintendo Direct, or kind of like a E3 press conference. Like they revealed a bunch of new stuff. So right off the bat, this was getting teased heavily last week. Far Cry 6. They're making a sick Far Cry game. Is anyone shocked? So I'm a big Far Cry fan, actually. This looks pretty neat. So they're going back to the tropical island aesthetic. The last game actually took place in the United States, believe it or not. But this is like it looks like a big like tropical island, but then there's also this like big city area. And one of the main villains is actually, where is the actor's name here? It is, I'm probably going to butcher this, Giancarlo Espito. Anyways, he plays Gus in Breaking Bad, and he also plays, I forget the character he played in The Mandalorian, but it's like the main bad guy around the end of it.
Moff, oh crap, what was it? Gosh, I know his name, Moff Gideon, that's his name.
Yeah. The point being, he's a famous actor, he's a good actor, and he is essentially one, if not the main villain of Far Cry 6. And I'm all on board. It looks cool. It actually looks very like, I don't know if I want to say modern or political, but like a lot of the game is like, he's like a very bad dictator or leader, and there's a lot of riots happening. And I think it's going to be a lot about like the people rising up and taking back power. And this character that he plays is kind of like the old dictator, and then he has like a son or a grandson, and he's trying to raise him to be the new dictator. So maybe you're going to try to save the kid. Maybe he will turn out to be the bad guy. I don't know. It looks interesting. The game itself looks gorgeous. I believe this is coming out on both like PS4 and Xbox One and PS5 and Xbox Series X. It comes out February 2021. There isn't any gameplay yet. There's some screens up. This game actually looks really gorgeous too if you look up any of the screenshots. Again, it's kind of set in modern, like, you know, Far Cry games are essentially just big open world first-person shooters with a lot of like sandboxy elements. They're a lot of fun though. I'm excited for this one.
Cool.
Next up, we had the debut of the gameplay for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, I have never been a fan of the Assassin's Creed games. I've only really played a handful of them. But since they did their reboot in, I think it was 2017 with Assassin's Creed Origins, they kind of changed the gameplay. It changed like the whole structure of the game, how the gameplay, how the loot works, you know. You're not just being the guy with the hood who climbs up top and does like the dive and stabs people in the neck with the hidden blade. Like there's actually a lot more depth in the combat. There's a lot of different types of weapons you can get. There's way more like missions and side missions. They essentially turned it from just like a stealth action game to like an action RPG. And since they've done that, I've always been interested in the series. And I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks like a very good starting point for anyone who wants to begin their journey in Assassin's Creed. I even said when this was revealed, they didn't have to call this Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They could have called this anything, because it doesn't even look anything like an Assassin's Creed game, besides the hood and the hidden blade. Anywho, the gameplay looks really cool. You have basically like this squad with you who will always kind of roll with you, and you can give them commands. You can always, you know, like have them like attack people or do little side quests for you. They can like help like build infrastructure, so that looks pretty interesting. Your character itself actually has like 2 different like wheels of different abilities, so you're not even just using, you know, like your whatever weapons you have, whether it be a sword or a shield or an axe or something like that. You actually have like abilities or like spells, if you will, so that looks pretty cool. There's also a bunch of different like, yeah,
I was saying I'm getting some Skyrim vibes here.
Yeah, and
like the Nords and everything. It's kind of what I'm getting reminded of.
I know that's a great comparison. I 100% agree. They show up a lot of the different stuff you can do in the game. I kind of skimmed through it, so I might be missing some stuff here, but you can go like fishing. There's a big emphasis on the boat combat with Vikings, like boarding ships and plundering. Yeah. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. They showed like all the different types of enemies that are in the game. Like, they're really building this to be more than what it was used to be. Like, this is kind of just Ubisoft's, like, action RPG at this point. So, all I'm going to say is think of what you will of Assassin's Creed prior. But if you're a fan of RPGs or action RPGs, you might want to actually look into this. It looks pretty cool. The game itself also just looks beautiful. So that's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That looked really cool. That comes out this year, by the way, November 17th. Hyperscape, If y'all remember, I think it was the last podcast, I was very upset how I couldn't get into the beta access. This was that Battle Royale game that Ubisoft announced.
I remember, you were pretty PO'd about this.
Well, guess what, guys? It's open beta. You can get it right now. You can go download it if you want to play it. Yep. For one, I literally lost interest. And, I have another game I'm playing, which I'll get to later. But right now, I could care less about this game, but it looks cool if you want to go check it out. It's a new Battle Royale game. It's more arcade, maybe Halo-esque style gameplay, where it's a little more slow. And it's interesting how they do like the player movement and like the way you get different upgrades for your guns and your different abilities you have. There's a lot of cool different types of abilities. Like, I would go look it up. It's called Hyperscape. And yeah, like I said, you can download it now and play it. I think it's only on PC in open beta. But they added like a new weapon, a new hack, which are the abilities, and a battle pass to the open beta. I don't think you're actually buying anything. I think it's a free battle pass. So go check that out if you want to look into that. That's Ubisoft's Battle Royale game. Now the rest of the news, it didn't interest me, so I'm going to skim through this as best as I can. Watch Dogs Legion. This is the new Watch Dogs game. The most notable thing here is that you can kind of take any character and you can play as them. So you can play as like a grandma, you could play as a firefighter, you could play as a policeman. You can literally control any NPC character in the game. They announced that it will be launching this year on October 29th. I'm going to assume that's probably launching on PS4, Xbox One, and also the new consoles. I've never really cared for the Watch Dogs series, so this does really nothing for me. Brawl.
I've heard good things about it.
Oh yeah, but besides the first one was like very overhyped and kind of a fake game. The second one, I know they made it better. It was kind of more like a GTA, like a bigger open world, like it controlled better. It had cool like hacking stuff. Yeah, just to skim through some of these other news. Brawlhalla is coming to mobile devices. That's pretty cool. That's kind of like I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a Smash type thing, like a platform fighter. So that's kind of interesting, I guess, if that's your thing. Just Dance, they keep making those. Just Dance 2020 will launch on the Wii. I don't know if that's true or not. I buy it.
The Wii?
I think it actually is coming out on the Wii. Let me just double check this. The Nintendo Wii. Yes, it is coming out on the Nintendo Wii. You heard me right. They're making a new Nintendo Wii game.
I never knew they were still making games for the Wii. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Huh. That just shows you how many people buy Just Dance.
So all the grandmas and the grandpas can still get down with it.
The rest, that's pretty much all the notable news. I got nothing else. I didn't even watch the event live. I forgot it happened, and then I'm like, oh, cool, Far Cry 6. That's really, and the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Those are the only things. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's neat.
And then when Just Dance 2020 came on, you're like, I'll turn this off now.
Usually they front load those videos with the Just Dance, so you have to watch it. And it's like, darn.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was cool, though. Next up, we have some more big video game companies showing off a lot of games. Now we have Devolver Direct 2020. We talked about this last week, how they blatantly stole our stolen controller clip art. How dare they?
The nerve.
But anyways, they announced some cool games on their live stream thing, too. I didn't watch this one either. I know Devolver usually has, like, they kind of do, like, Adult Swim, like, live action humor bits. I don't know what happened. Let's just go over all the games they announced, or the ones I thought were notable. So this one was really weird. Devolver Land Expo, described as a first-person marketing simulator. This free mini-game places you in an abandoned conference center and has you fighting and puzzling your way to find Devolver-themed goodies, including trailers of the game shown in the Direct. Now, I watched the trailer for this game. It's literally like just like a modern first-person shooter that you go through a big like E3 conference, and each of the different sections are pretty much all the games they announced at the conference. So that's kind of weird. It says it's free. I don't know where. Maybe Steam. I don't know where you get that. But I thought it looked cool. Shadow Warrior 3. I think this might have been their biggest announcement. We got our first look at Shadow Warrior 3 gameplay, showing off the 2021's game's gunplay, platforming, melee combat, and range of ludicrous demon designs to disembowel. This is kind of like a old school type action first-person shooter, kind of like Doom or something like that. Woolgi, I believe it's that, or Woolgi? Olegia, sure. This looked pretty cool. So this is a Prince of Persia-inspired action-adventure game featuring a shipwrecked captain and a country full of people who really don't want him to be there. And this is coming this fall to PC and Nintendo Switch. I thought this looked neat. It was like a well-done retro-style platformer action-adventure game. So that might actually be pretty cool. Last but not least, the thing that I thought looked really interesting, Fall Guys, that's all the game's called, is a 60-player battle royale / game show coming to PC and PS4 on August 4th. And we got to look at its many games and costumes, including a pre-order bonus exclusive Half-Life outfit to grab on PC. So what this game is what it said. It's a 60-player battle royale / game show where I guess depending on what stage you're playing, you kind of do like different types of things. It looks like they pair you up in teams, or maybe it's a free-for-all. But you're kind of put in these like environments where the one I saw is you kind of have to grab like these little orbs and take them back to a certain destination. And I think there are things that'll kind of like wipe you out essentially. It's if you go look this game up, it's very cutesy. It kind of is almost like a Nintendo. Like it's very just like clean and polished. And I don't know, something about it really interests me. I might end up diving into Fall Guys. It's like a very like just silly, like you could play this with like a 4-year-old, or you could play it with like a 50-year-old, and they'd probably both crack up at it. Other than that, that's pretty much all the important stuff. There was other announcements, but yeah.
Shoot, bless me. I'm sorry.
Yes, I could tell your excitement from that sneeze.
That was the sneeze of excitement. It really truly was. What? That was sincere.
All right, that's all for the big like not E3 press conferences. We're gonna move on to a couple other stories here. We got some Sony stories here. Y'all like the PlayStation? Anyways, Sony acquires minority stake in Epic for $250 million. Let's read the original story. This apparently got updated. Sony has acquired a minority interest in Epic with a strategic investment of $250 million. The minority stake will mean that Sony and Epic will be able to collaborate more closely together in areas of games, entertainment, and technology. Epic's powerful technology in areas such as graphics places them at the forefront of game engine development with Unreal Engine and other innovations. There's no better example of this than the revolutionary entertainment experience Fortnite, Sony president and CEO Kenichiro Yoshida said in a statement. I mean, he's not wrong. Fortnite is doing incredibly well. I don't know if I would say it's that revolutionary, but I mean, I don't mean to point fingers, but a lot of what Fortnite's success is them just literally copying other games or things that other games did and putting them in their game. But what do I know? What do I know?
I think the game being free is why the game is so successful, because everyone can just get it and play it. And then obviously, yeah, you're right. It just does what a lot of other online battle royale games do. But I think because it's a free to play, but you can customize your character kind of a game. That's why it's so popular. It's kind of almost like a phone game that's on your console. So,
yeah, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. Like it was. Besides that, I don't really know another like real free to play game that was as big as that one. And I think
wasn't PUBG, was that free to play or is that a
PUBG is still not free to play. It's a $30 game.
Interesting.
Yeah, Fortnite kind of was like showed that could be a thing, and there were many copiers who, you know, did the battle royale genre free to play, and some had success, some didn't. But yeah, I don't mean to like poo-poo on Fortnite, but it's just not a game I necessarily care for. And I mean, honestly, if you look at it, they did kind of just be like, hey, what's Apex Legends doing that we don't got? Let's just take those features. Hey, what's Call of Duty Warzone got that we don't got? Let's just take those I don't know. You know. I don't know, because every game iterates from the other game. If you like Fortnite, that's okay. I'm just pointing out facts. Anyways, I'm not going to read the update to that article either. It was just kind of like them, like one of the Sony executives like commenting on it, or it was talking about that like fancy Epic game or Unreal Engine 5 reveal that I think we talked about a few weeks or months ago. It was just like a big tech demo trailer. It's not important. It's not important. You know what is important? PS5 box art revealed. This is big news, Mike. The box art for the PlayStation 5 is very different and definitely won't confuse any moms or grandmas shopping this holiday season. All right, check this out. So, it's the same blue box as a PlayStation 4 box, okay? Same size, so no difference there already. The only thing that is different is the logo, which instead of saying PS4 and being black, is now white and says PS5. That's it. This is kind of a nothing story, but yeah, I feel like there are going to be some moms or grandmas who definitely buy their kid the PS4 version of a game. It really doesn't look any different.
And then they can start complaining, Grandma, now I'm only playing my game in 1080p, not 4K. What the heck? Oh, wait, but it does reveal... I'm surprised you didn't talk about the Spider-Man thing.
Oh, really? Why was that? Wait, what did I miss?
But the box art also revealed that Marvel is going to be using the Miles Morales as the next Spider-Man in the game.
What?
Isn't that what...
I thought we talked about that. This game isn't new, Spider-Man Miles Morales. They're just showing off the box.
Oh, okay. It said, like, PS box art revealed with... Okay, I thought the point was, like... I honestly thought the point of this was that, hey, Miles is going to be the Spider-Man in this game.
No,
okay,
we knew that already. We knew that.
Oh, okay. I didn't play the last Spider-Man, so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that explains it, I guess. All right, never mind. Okay. All right, I'm the dumb one here. Never mind.
Interestingly enough, I think Microsoft also might or maybe someone found the box art for their new games in quotes, and they're a little confusing, but I feel like this is something that is going to be confusing with this next gen, where you can pretty much get like the new consoles, the PS5 and Xbox Series X, are going to be backwards compatible. Like you can get a PS4, Xbox One game and play it on your new consoles, and hypothetically they should look like it'll run the newer enhanced versions instead of the old versions. So it's kind of weird because like I make that joke, but if like your grandma did get you the PS4 version of Spider-Man Miles Morales, if that's even a thing, I think it's going to look the same if you play it on a PS5. Like I think it'll work. And to bring it back to my point that I was going to say about Xbox is box art for the new games got revealed, and it literally just says Xbox, and it looks like a Xbox One box. And I think it just says works on Xbox One or Xbox Series X. So I don't know. It's going to be confusing. Video games are confusing, man.
Oh, my head hurts from all the video games.
There's too many buttons. I don't know how to play. What happened to A and B? Now there's like a plus.
You know, what happened to my good old A, B, start and select?
Where's L3, guys? There's no button that says L. All right.
Where's my useless D-pad on the left side of the controller?
Where's my thumb? What did they call the? Remember that little like thing you would attach to the 3DS to get that little nub? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the analog.
What was that thing called?
It's not an analog stick. What the heck they called it? I forget what they called it.
Like they added it to later models of the 3DS. It's the expansion slide pad or circle pad Pro. I just googled it.
The circle pad. That's.
But it literally added like a whole like like it made your 3DS way more wide. This is before they made like the newer models of the 3DS. But God, it looks so awkward. It's basically like they just added a big like, yeah. I mean, now you can play Kid Icarus without getting carpal tunnel, but yeah. All right.
Anywho,
back to our Sony news. One last word here. Sony patent suggests PS1, PS2, and PS3 games could be backwards compatible via the cloud. A Sony patent has surfaced, suggesting that the PS1, PS2, and PS3 games could be emulated via the cloud. First posted to Twitter by user Renka Schedule, the tweet can be translated into English, at which point it reads, "A large number of game titles across PS1, PS2, PS3, and various generations of game consoles can be stored and used via the cloud gaming library. These games can be run on a virtual machine that mimics the operating system associated with each game console." A lot of people these past few months speculating if there was a rumor or something that the PlayStation 5 was going to be able to play all the original, or like throughout the whole generation of PlayStation. So you could hypothetically put a PlayStation 1 disc into the PlayStation 5 and it would be like, oh, you're about to play Resident Evil, like the first one, or you're about to play Final Fantasy 7, the original one, and it would work. If this is true, granted, this is just a patent, this could be what people speculated, and I mean, that would be really cool.
It's funny because you would think that because they're all CDs. I mean, technically, I know the discs that are used nowadays are obviously bigger. There's more data on these things, but you would think that these CD readers could be able to read any old game. Like if it's a PlayStation game, you think they're all made similar enough where it should be able to like. I'm kind of stammering here, but I was always bothered by the fact that these things are not always just backwards compatible. Like, why is it even like
I agree.
question, you know?
Yeah, it should be a simple program that they can install into the hardware. That's essentially just an emulator. So, like you said, if you could just put a PlayStation 2 disc in there, it'd be like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we're playing PlayStation 2. We're good.
Yeah, because you would think that the hardware and the software that is needed to play these games is like could it obviously fit? I'm not saying like physically just fit in the box itself, but you think like the programs and the hardware that is used to run PS5 games, you think should be able to just to play PS2 games like no problem. Again, I am not a programmer,
guys. I can play Shadow of the Colossus on my printer. It's awesome.
Well, let's not get carried away, but like you know what I'm saying. It's like I can understand like Nintendo would be like an exception because obviously the GameCube the N64 was a cartridge. GameCube was mini discs. It wasn't until the Wii that they actually started using ordinary size CDs, and the Wii U. So it's like I understand there might be a bit of like be some issues with that, you know. I mean, but technically, like I guess even so, because like the Wii could play GameCube, the Wii U could play Wii games, you know. So there was a bit of backwards compatibility, and then obviously when it came to the Switch, now we're back to cartridges, so it is kind of like that. I don't know. In a way, I guess when I first saw this, I was even thinking, are they trying to delve into the whole virtual console concept? Because that'd be kind of interesting. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. It says like it's emulating these games, not so much it's running them properly. It's more like, oh, okay, it read the disc. It's not going to actually read and play the game, but it's like it reads the disc and knows what it is, and via the cloud it's going to emulate a PS1 or a PS2 or so on and so forth.
Right.
That could be the tech that's involved here. So I don't know.
Which still would probably upset people because that means you have to have some sort of online connection to even play that kind of stuff.
Technically, yeah. Again, I kind of back to what I was saying. You would think that the PS5 would just have the hardware and the software its hardware and software should just be capable of just reading these discs and saying, okay, this is a PS1, PS2, PS3, whatever game, But again, I'm not a game designer. I'm not a programmer, so maybe maybe it's not as simple as it sounds. Maybe it's like, no, it physically can't be done. You have to program it that way, or it does need those actual components, and so that would then obviously make the cost go up. Maybe the box would be big enough to hold all that in there. I don't know all the details. I guess just me being the ignorant one, I always felt like, why can't they just all do that? Like, why couldn't the PS4? And correct me if I'm wrong. Can the PS4 play PS1 and PS2 games?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah. So I was like, I was wondering, like, why can't they do that? Like PS2 could play PS1, and PS3 could play PS2.
Yep.
So where was that loss of translation where it's like, okay, but I can't play PS1 games on PS3?
I also believe that the original PlayStation 3, the like big $600 version, could also play PS1 games.
Oh, could it? Okay.
I think.
But even that being said, you would think like that makes sense for being capable of doing that. And then with the PS4, I get it. The games are bigger and better. The CDs are probably different. But I just feel like then why? But like you would think like whatever they use for the PS3, wouldn't that be part of the design when making the PS4? Or maybe they really do just start from scratch and it's like, okay, now like this is literally designed to only play PS4 CDs. Like that it could be something as simple as that, So I don't know.
I don't want to misquote myself here, but I do believe the Xbox Series X can do this thing. I believe if you put in the right disc, well, there's like a certain amount of games that it works with, but you could hypothetically put an original Xbox disc into the Xbox Series X, and I think it will emulate the game, So this technology does exist.
Okay.
If I'm correct, I don't know if that's 100%. It does.
Yeah.
It definitely does that on the Xbox One now. Like you can put in some original Xbox games in the Xbox One, and it will like be like, oh, okay, you want to play Halo Combat Evolved? Here we go. Also, I was just kind of like brainstorming, like, what if Nintendo put out these like horrible, like leech giant, like tumor-looking attachments for the Switch, where like we at Nintendo hear your concerns about backwards compatibility. And now we added a cartridge attachment that allow you to play N64 games, and it's like a tiny little N64 you just plug into the like Switch cartridge, and it's like very like big and over encumbered.
I'm getting some Sega flashbacks when they
something
had
like that.
All the Sega Genesis add-ons.
We here at Nintendo hear you. We know you want to play GameCube games, so we added the mini GameCube. You can plug it into your Switch, and now your Switch has a handle. It's revolutionary.
To be fair, I am totally down with this idea. Little add-ons to add to your Switch, and it's like, all right, cool. Now you can play the games. Believe me, people would lose their minds if that was actually a thing.
We here at Nintendo, we hear you guys. You want to play Wii. There's a ton of good games on the Wii. All you got to do is hook up the Wii Mini to your Switch. Then you also have to hook up the Wii Mini sensor bar to your Switch as well. Now, we're not going to sell you the specific cable you need to attach the mini sensor to the Switch. You have to buy that separately, unfortunately, but it'll all work out at the end of the day. I'm also just having nightmares of like Nintendo being like, now that we release these things, we're just going to re-release all our old Nintendo games. So like you go into Target and it's like, oh, look, here's the row of Switch games, and then on the other side there's just like brand new boxes of like Super Smash Brothers or Super Mario 64, full price, like $60.
Well, I'm not down with.
Don't say it's cool. I know you guys are thinking like, oh my god, a complete in box Super Mario 64, that is pretty neat. No, it's not. Don't worry, this is just where my brain goes. Let's move it somewhere else. We got more video game news. Don't worry, guys. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. This is the remake. Slight delay. New DLC expansion announced. So, I don't know anything about this game. I think it looks cool. I'm excited to play the re-release because I never played it originally when it came out in 2012. But I thought it was kind of interesting that they're actually adding brand new content to this game, like a whole new expansion pass. It's called Fate Sworn, and it's coming out in 2021. This game, or the remake, comes out September 8th. But I think that's just interesting because I don't think we've ever had a case where someone remastered a game and actually made new content for it. That's a new one. Anywho, let's move on. You guys like Tetris? Tetris is fun, right? You like Tetris, Mike?
I like Tetris Attack for the Super Nintendo because it was Mario themed.
Tetris Attack is fun. Yeah. Pokemon Puzzle League, you ever play that? It's kind of like Tetris Attack, right?
Can't say I played it before.
Oh, wait, no, it's not.
I'm a fake gamer.
No, I'm thinking of, there was one on the GBA that's like Tetris Attack. The Pokemon Puzzle League was on the N64, but it's a little different. Anyways, look it up. Tetris on mobile just became a daily game show with cash prizes. Ooh, ah. Networks, that's network with a 3 where the E goes. Tetris mobile app has launched a new daily game show called Tetris Prime Time, which offers players the chance to compete in a live tournament to win cash, money, prizes. Per Pocket Gamer, Tetris Prime Time is described as a mix between a live TV show and a video game tournament, with the daily competition, hosted by actor Millen Baird, who will be awarding more than $1 million in annual cash prizes to players. The game will kick off every night at 7:30 p.m. in various anchor cities around the globe, including Auckland, Perth, Moscow, Berlin, London, New York City, and Los Angeles, with participants in the first game playing for a chance to win a share of the $5,000 prize pool. So you literally play this Battle Royale type Tetris game to win money on your phone. What are video games in 2020?
All cash cows. That's all they are.
You know, I got to give a shout outs to the people who made Tetris. It's the year 2020. They're still making new Tetrises. People are giving a shit about Tetris. I mean, I love Tetris. I'm considering downloading this, although I don't live in any of the anchor cities or whatever they say that, you know. Not everyone lives in New York or LA, but I don't know. That's cool. I like that. And hey, you can win some money. There have actually been other games like this that have been like live action, like game show type things where you have to play at certain times, but you actually can win like cash prizes. It's kind of interesting.
Huh. Interesting.
Yes. Speaking of mobile games, we got another one for you here. Crash Bandicoot mobile game On the Run officially announced. After a soft launch earlier this year, King has officially confirmed Crash Bandicoot On the Run, a mobile runner featuring the platforming mascot, is officially on the way for a wider launch on iOS and Android phones. King announced today that On the Run is currently available for pre-registration on Google Play Store for Android phones and will soon be available to pre-register on iOS as well. Those who pre-register will receive the blue hyena skin from Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled when the game launches. And there was also a trailer that came out. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know both of these stories were mobile games. I'm not a big mobile gamer, and I believe this. I assume it's some sort of runner. I actually didn't watch the trailer, but I mean, technically it's a new Crash Bandicoot game that's not Crash Bandicoot 4 that already got announced. So if you've been aching, if you're, pulsing at the veins, you need your Crash fix for you. There you go. And he's like kind of cute and chibi. It looks nice. I don't know if that's a good game.
Well, yeah, I think they're just delving into the mobile market. I mean, if they can make these games for cheap, I mean, I'm sure there are going to be people, even non-Crash fans, are probably going to give it a shot because, I know Crash Bandicoot from the '90s. Let me get this free mobile game, and then they'll just make people will spend money. I think making these little games is a really smart idea. I know I sound like I'm a sellout. It'd be like, let's phone games are the devil and they're like destroying the game industry, blah blah blah. I don't know. I think it's just modernization of gaming. I'm not the biggest fan of mobile games either. Like even like the Mario stuff. As much as I love Nintendo and I think it's smart for them to delve into the mobile market, I'm not going to be playing Super Mario Run or the Mario Kart Tour game. But I know a lot of people will. So more power to them.
I will say as a final point, I do actually really like the visual style of this game. It looks quite nice. Anywho. We got a few little random stories here before we get into our big Nintendo news, as we do at the end of the the news stories. This one's just weird. This is literally just a weird thing, kind of like that Kingdoms of Amalur story I pulled. Valorant releases weapon pack where the weapons are just dragons, and it costs nearly $100. So, Valorant is Riot's new free-to-play first-person shooter. Riot, notable for their little-known game called League of Legends. I didn't hear about this, but I guess this is like a pack of skins you can buy. I don't know if you buy them in the store or if it's through some sort of promotion or whatever. But
$100, jeez.
It does what the thing says. It literally makes all the guns that the player uses little dragons, and it's kind of fascinating and weird.
And they shoot fireballs.
Yeah, I highly suggest you guys look this up. Go on the Valorant official Twitter or on their YouTube or something. But yeah, it's like it's all the same dragon, and depending on what weapon you use, it just kind of changes like the placement of how the player holds it. But yeah, the dragon like shoots out fire. It's very bizarre. It's very weird, especially like seeing the dragon be like a sniper rifle, or it's just very odd. I kind of give them credit for it, though, because I haven't seen a first-person shooter where you hold a dragon and it shoots out fire, but I don't know what to make of it.
I'm getting reminded of Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Tooie.
Oh, yes.
Specifically, where you can use Kazooie as like an egg shooting shotgun, so that was kind of cool.
Yep. Shout outs to Smash. You can do that in Smash.
Yeah, you can. I'm very happy that they brought that into that they included that as part of Banjo and Kazooie's moveset. Bravo, Sakurai, bravo.
This is another random one, too. This was a game that I think it queued in my YouTube. It was just a trailer. This is called Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. I believe it's the full title. No. I don't think it has anything to do with X-Men.
Oh. Oh, no, I'm thinking Werewolf. I'm an idiot.
So if you go look this... You're good. If you go look this game up on YouTube or something, this game is kind of like batshit crazy. It's very 90s, early 2000s energy, very like edgy. But it looks like you play as like a man who's a werewolf, and in these combat sections, there's a lot going on here. You're playing as like a werewolf, and you're fighting like these like mech suits straight out of like Aliens. You're fighting these like military dudes. You're doing like combos on them. I don't know, man. It's really weird. You're fighting other werewolves. It's almost like a Devil May Cry game, but you're like a werewolf. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of interested in this game.
Hey, werewolves are cool. So
again, for those of you who want to hear the title, this is a long title. Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. That's the full title. It comes out February 4th, 2021 for literally every console besides the Switch. The old and new.
Of course.
That's just a weird game. Like it's weird, it's edgy. I would say this is like a B game. Like it's not necessarily like it doesn't look that good. It might not be that long. Like it might not be like a 12-hour like single player game, which is fine with me. I feel like this came out of nowhere, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting. So I don't know. I want to talk about it. Sometimes you got to shout out the little guys.
Nothing wrong with that.
Speaking of little guys, Sega announces a miniature arcade cabinet with 36 games included. Sega just announcing all their mini consoles. They want to get on board with this. Sega has announced a miniature arcade cabinet scheduled for Japanese release only, which will ship with 36 games included. Sega's been celebrating its 60th anniversary this year, and celebrations continue with the announcement of the Astro City Mini. This miniature arcade cabinet, which fits in your hand, comes with 36 Sega arcade titles and is set to release later this year, according to Game & Watch, as translated by Sega Driven. As for what games to expect on this device, Sega has announced just 10 of the 3 dozen expected games to ship with, including Alien Syndrome, Alien Storm, Altered Beast, Columns 2, Dark Edge, Fantasy Zone, Golden Axe, Revenge of Death Adder, Taunt R, and Virtual Fighter, It's unknown if more titles or the entire selection will be announced before the cabinet is released. The cabinet is an off-white color and features bright green 8-way joystick and 6 arcade buttons on a black background. You can check out what the mini system looks like online. It actually looks really nice. I am not a Sega fan. I kind of like the aesthetic of this thing. I would maybe buy one if this released in the United States. I think it looks like it'd be fun to play. Although it is quite sad because you see, like, in the picture they have here, it's Virtual Fighter, and it's like, well, you clearly can't play 2 people on this tiny thing, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Like, the buttons take up, like, the lower half and the joystick of the whole thing, but I don't know. It's a pretty cool thing. This seems like better than that what were they called? The Game Gear Micro. Those things are, like, tiny. Like, the screen is only, like, an inch big.
Those things were, like... Remember those, like, little, like... Not Chia Pests. They did like little
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi, yeah. Like little
or Digimon. Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got reminded of.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I think we talked about them too, where it's like all the different colors have different games on them. Like, it's very weird. And they're like $50 each. It's like, who is buying this? Very strange, very strange. One of them even has like a bunch of JRPGs, and it's like, how are you supposed to read like all the text on that 1-inch screen? You're gonna like strain your eyes, like you're gonna have a bunch of migraines.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that's just like a Japanese audience thing. Like they like that kind of stuff. I don't see it. Definitely does not appeal to me.
All right, everyone, we've hit the moment you've all been waiting for, our Nintendo news block right at the end here. So first of all, this is one of the biggest Nintendo franchises out there. Crisis Remastered will still be released on Nintendo Switch on July 23rd. Following the delay of Crisis Remastered's release date and trailer premiere due to mixed reactions to leaked footage, Crytek has announced that Crisis Remastered for Switch will still be released on July 23rd, 2020. The news was revealed on Twitter by the official Crisis account, which said, "Dear fans, you may have seen our latest update about the Crisis Remastered release, and we have good news for you. We can confirm that Crisis will still be coming to Nintendo Switch on July 23rd.
Cool.
Highly recommend this game if any of y'all gamers haven't played it already. It's a very good single-player, first-person shooter, you know.
Pretty sure I played this back in the day. Is that like Maximum Armor?
Oh,
Maximum Speed. Yeah, that game, yeah. That was a cool game. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a good, like, sci-fi shooter, you know. And like, the combat's good. Yeah. The island, it doesn't have as much like as you'd want in it. It's almost kind of a linear game. It's actually not that open world-ish, but it's a good game nonetheless. Did you have anything else? I feel like I cut you off.
No. I was just gonna say, very like for the listeners, it reminds me a bit of Halo, just like, you know, gameplay wise. There's no aliens, but you know, it's that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
That's it.
Next up here, this one's very brief. Donkey Kong Country leads July 2020's Nintendo Switch Online SNES and NES games. July 2020's Nintendo Switch Online games are the SNES's Donkey Kong Country and Natsume's Championship Wrestling and NES The Immortal. I am unfamiliar with the wrestling game mentioned there, Natsume Championship Wrestling. It looked like a fun little like SNES wrestling game. I actually was shocked. I didn't even realize Donkey Kong Country wasn't even there to begin with. I was mind blown that they didn't have any of them on there. Donkey Kong Country games. I think I was just confused because I was recently playing on the SNES Classic, and that has Donkey Kong Country, like the original one. So I just assumed if it was there, you know, I thought it's on the Switch Online, but apparently it's not. Now it is.
It wasn't. I'm very happy about that. I mean, again, I've been playing on my Super Nintendo, but I think I'm very happy that this is on the Nintendo Switch Online for many people to start playing this game again who don't have it.
Yes, it's quite good. It also has a very unique art style for, you know, the SNES graphics, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, Final Fantasy 3 and Mario RPG? Oh, I'm pumped. That's actually a game I do not own, and I'm a little upset about that.
Also, weirdly enough, NES The Immortal. For those of you who don't know what this is, I think AVGN did a video about this game, because when they showed it, I'm like, I saw this game before. But it's kind of like an isometric perspective where you play as like a wizard and you kind of roam this like dungeon, and like the combat is like kind of this weird, like you enter into a different screen and it's almost like a very close isometric view where it's like the wizard guy versus whatever monster you're fighting. And it appears that like depending on what button you hit, you'll do like different attacks, almost like a fighting game. And then it appears like other RPG elements, like you can get different weapons and power-ups and stuff like that. It's definitely interesting.
Okay.
I'm these like what Nintendo's doing with their NES and SNES like online platforms, whatever you call them, it's very weird the way they're like releasing these games and the games they choose to release.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just to chime in, I will say that I feel that they're really there are so many missed opportunities of them to like not release their legacy content, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Because then like just because not this time, but the last time they released some Super NES games for the Nintendo Switch Online, I don't remember them being anything good. They were just like, oh, these are just random games. Hey, it's cool that they're out there for people to experience, but like, where are all the high profile ones? Why isn't like Donkey Kong was a big one. Like, why is great now? Like, it skipped me, but like, is Earthbound on there? Like, that'd be a really good one that people would love to play. You know, like, there's so many great Super NES games that's like, why aren't they on here? Why aren't you releasing these games like rapidly? I mean, how hard is it to port them to the Switch? You know, online. It's
it's very strange. I do think it's cool that they do give all the access to this with your Nintendo Switch Online. Like, that's cool. But yeah, it's like I feel like they're just releasing these too slowly by piecemeal. Like, we're not getting enough. And then it's like, so like, what are they doing with like other systems? Like, are we ever going to get N64 games? Are we ever going to get like Game Boy? Are they even going to do like GameCube or anything? It's like they had so much cool stuff on the Wii, like the Virtual Console and even the Wii U. Like, Wii U even had like did Wii U have DS games?
The Wii U?
Yeah.
Did the Wii? Oh, I don't know what the DS.
It had GBA because
DS. Yeah, cause the DS had its own little like. How do I say it? The DS had its own little versions of like downloadable games and everything. Its own little virtual. Yeah, so it had that.
Well, I'm just saying though. I don't remember the Wii U. I don't think it could emulate DS, but I don't remember. I thought it might have been able to because the Wii U technically had two screens.
You're right. Oh, you know what? I don't know. I never tried it, so I don't know. I don't know if the Wii U had DS games on there.
Anyways, yeah, I wish they did a better job with that stuff. Yeah, moving on. This is actually pretty cool. I think this literally just got leaked today. LEGO teases NES set following leaked pictures. A LEGO replica of the Nintendo Entertainment System appears to have leaked online, leading LEGO to tease an official launch for the set on social media. VG Gamer posted an article earlier today revealing the new set, showing off the box, manual, and individual pieces. The set consists of a CRT TV playing World 1-1 from Super Mario Bros. For NES, a Nintendo Entertainment System, replica console and controller, and the Super Mario Bros. Cartridge. The full set contains 2,646 pieces, making it quite a substantial build. LEGO website Promo Bricks is reporting that the set will have a these are euros, €229.99 price tag and launch on August 1st alongside the previously revealed LEGO Super Mario sets. And like I was saying here, there are some pictures, and they even teased this on the official LEGO website. This is actually really neat because it literally is a TV built out of bricks, and there's literally a screen playing Super Mario Brothers World 1.1, and it's all made out of little Lego bricks, and it looks like you might be able to maybe move Mario, or there might be different like tiles you can make, because in the pictures that are shown on Twitter here, there are different areas of World 1.1. I don't know if maybe it even has some sort of weird like tech where they're able to make it scroll or crank. It kind of looks like, I think there is. So this thing's really neat. I'm really digging this.
I'm impressed by it. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not the biggest Lego aficionado, but I think it's cool that I think it's quite. I just like Lego in general, like somewhat. But then seeing this is even cooler because it's like, oh wow, like I just like how Nintendo is delving into all this I just like how they're coming together, they're meshing their stuff together. Like I like the Mario Lego stuff. I think it's a little bit cheesy, but it's kind of cool and cute at the same time. Especially the old school TV and the NES. That's like. I would just want that in my room, just for
exactly.
Just like a little cool little collectible set piece.
Yeah, and like the thing that I think is also really neat is like all the little individual sprites are like pieces. So there's like the sprite of like Mario jumping is like a little plastic piece you put into the kit. I don't know, it's cool. Last but not least, here we have WayForward's brand new video game. Shown off at the Nintendo Treehouse Live following the gameplay, or whatever you want to call it, of Paper Mario Origami King. The highly anticipated Bakugan Champions of Historia. Woo! Let's get it, guys! Bakugan!
I'm gonna go jump off the roof. Goodbye, cruel world.
Alright. I get it. Bakugan, I guess highly successful new line of children's toy. Me and my buddy were actually talking about this over the weekend because I actually played Bakugan. I played Bakugan when it officially came out, and when I say officially came out, I think me and him played the beta version of Bakugan because it's still going on, and we played in like 2013 or 14.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I liked Bakugan. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a little bit. I liked Bakugan when I played with my friend, and then we got over it. And now I see this as like a brand new video game, and I'm like, okay, that's definitely not what people were looking forward to. I specifically loved when everyone saw, like, I forget what day, they're like, oh, we're gonna have a Nintendo Treehouse Live showing off Paper Mario and also WayForward's new project, and was like, oh, it's going to be a new platformer, maybe like a new Wario Land, maybe a new Metroid game, and then like literally hours later, Nintendo said like, guys, it'll be a third-party game. It is not a first-party Nintendo title. And that deflated the balloon a little bit, everyone. We were all like, okay, well, that's sad. It's not those, but it could be like a good, like, Metroidvania-style platforming game. Nope. Bakugan, Champions of Historia. Is this supposed to be our Pokemon for the year? Because I feel like they're touting this as some sort of like big AAA announcement. It's even like a boxed release. Like in the trailer, there's a boxed version of this game, which makes me think that it's going to be a $60 release. And from what I watched of the trailer, it looks like you have like teams of Bakugan, and Bakugan are like, you collect them. So I'm kind of going to assume it's almost like a Pokemon style game.
Not to bash the Bakugan fans out there, because I know they're out there, but I think like a game like this is definitely deserved to exist. But yeah, the way that they're kind of like hyping it up was a little bit misleading, I guess. Like, imagine like all the hype around this, and it's like even just like the studio that was given this project, it's like they could have been doing so much more, so much bigger. I'm probably really getting a lot of the Bakugan fans who are listeners, all two of them, very upset. Like, I'm just thinking like there's so many other things they could have put the studio to. It's like, imagine if you heard like Monolith was making a new. Gosh, I don't even know. I can't think of like a bad series.
Yeah.
See, now I feel like I'm just bashing Bakugan, because I was gonna say, what if you heard like Monolith was working on the next Golden Sun game or the next Mother 4? But then I'm like, wait, no, that sounds amazing. So it's like, but Bakugan was just not one that I would jump on. I don't know.
I think here's what the problem is, Mike, and I'm kind of paraphrasing from some tweets I saw like right after this announcement happened. This shouldn't have even been hyped. They shouldn't have said anything about this. They literally made hype for like nothing. Or they made hype. They made hype for a crowd that doesn't exist. You know.
Right. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like I guess you said it best. It's okay for the game to exist, but they hyped it up to be like, guys, you won't believe what's coming out here. It's kind of like imagine that being like the one final thing at the end of like Nintendo Direct. You'd be like, what? That's the one final thing. Like that. That's the same kind of hype that they were kind of like pumping this up to be. And it's like, you could just announce this earlier on. You didn't have to make this like, oh, here's the one final big thing, guys. And you're like, oh, well, no offense, but a very, very, very minimal fan base requested this, you know? Not saying that the fan base doesn't exist and they shouldn't get what they want. I'm just thinking, yeah, you're right. The hype was very misleading, is all I'm saying.
I'm sitting over here laughing to myself, just thinking, what if this game is actually really good? What if Bakugan Champions of Historia is like the game of 2020?
Yeah, it puts Breath of the Wild 2 to shame or something like that. Like it's like that.
That Spider-Man game, no, it's trash.
I find that very unlikely, but I'm just. Oh man, that's funny.
Mike, what if this is our only big Nintendo game we get this holiday season?
To be fair, we've lived through some of those years where like we've gotten like nothing, you know. Why does my thing keep turning on?
What if we get Dragonoid in Smash? That's right, Bakugan heads. I know Dragonoid. It's the main one. It's the Pikachu.
Sounds like we have a Bakugan fan in the podcast.
I beta tested Bakugan.
Oh my gosh.
That reminds me, I gotta tell this story because when I was talking to my friend, we were talking about how, you know, we used to play. We literally went to a Bakugan tournament, and now defunct is, I think, the right word, Toys R Us.
Mm-hmm.
There, probably like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. We went to a Bakugan tournament in Toys R Us because we liked Bakugan, and, you know, we were both like teenagers, and we kind of wanted to find like likewise individuals like us who actually cared about this thing. And so we're like, oh, we'll go to this tournament. And we actually like kind of knew how to play the game, and we had some of the best pieces. So we're like, oh, we're probably going to clean house or do pretty well because, you know, we actually understand how to play the game, because there actually was depth into like picking the different creatures. There's like cards involved into it. It's kind of like a card game mixed with just marbles. But anyways, we get there at probably like, I don't know, like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And, dude, it was literally just like a bunch of fucking like 7 or 8 year olds. And there was me and my friend. And we're like 14, 15. And we're like, and they let us play. They're like, yeah, you can play. And literally, I want to say we each played like 3 rounds. And I think we ended up versing each other at the end because we literally did clean house. Like, it was a bunch of kids who, you know, liked the Bakugan show that was airing on Cartoon Network and got their pieces. You know, they probably got their Dragonoid or whatever they liked. And me and my friend literally had what would be quote-unquote Bakugan meta decks. So we just wrecked shit. And I think, like, the tournament organizer of this event, there was, like, not that many people there. And they were giving out, like, promotional cards. And I think he ended up giving us, like, 6 or 8 of the promotional. Like, we each had multiples of this promotional card. And we're like, okay, well, now that was kind of a waste of an afternoon. We didn't get, like, anything out of this.
I'm just laughing in my head because I can just see, like, a little kid, like, playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And just like, all right, I summon my Beaver Warrior, pass to you. And you're
pretty
just like,
much that.
And then you're just like, all right, scrub, set 5, activate Upstart Goblin, draw Archfiend, let's go!
Yeah, pretty much that.
And the kids is like, what's happening?
And, like, you know, it was a lot of, like, taking my time, like, because a lot of the kids obviously had their parents there with them, and, like, yeah, I was being very fun. Yeah, I was having fun and being very respectful. Like, I was like, oh, like, he would use his effects, and I'd be like, oh, good job, that was a good play, or something. Like, you know, I was being really nice, but...
Yeah, you're a nice guy, Corey, I understand.
Anywho, that's all oh, go ahead.
I've been there before, too, because, again, I've only ever really done that with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I hate to say, like, me being a 30-year-old, like, there have been times where I've played at this shop, and, like, of course, the game is meant for kids, too, so, of course, sometimes little 10-year-olds come over, and, you know, they're just playing, like, their decks from the TV shows, and of course I would be very respectful. I let them play the game. I would even let them win one of the 3 games, because, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is best of 3, so I would let them win one of the games just to make them have fun. You know, I would hate seeing, like, the other guys who are like, Like the other 30-year-olds playing the game, I get it. You're here to win. You're here to play seriously against the other 30-year-olds. But like when you're playing up against a 10-year-old, don't make him feel like crap by like wrecking him on turn one. Like let the kid have some fun, you know. Like let it have a good time at the shop or the tournament, whatever, you know. So thank you, Corey, for being one of the more respectable players. You know, like despite the fact that you obviously had a much better Bakugan deck or whatever, it was meta. He wasn't like. Thank you, Corey, for being a respectable player because we need more people like you in these kind of like games.
You know, saying your story brings back childhood trauma because I was actually that kid who was like the 10-year-old who didn't like. I had like my Seto Kaiba deck, and I remember I went to some tournament like at a mall, like at some card shop, not the one that we used to go to, like a different mall like away from us. I remember my mom took me, and I was probably like 11, 10, maybe younger, and I had my Seto Kaiba deck where I had one of every card. That's not how you play Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way.
And no shame.
And I went to this tournament, and this was a real tournament. I don't know what kind of tournament it was. Like there are different types of events in Yu-Gi-Oh, like depending on what the prize pool is. But all I remember thinking back about it is it was, I believe, right around the time that like the Treeborn Frog Monarch deck was big.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, take my Kaiba deck where I guess like the only card I had 3 of was probably Blue Eyes, and yeah, just like one of everything else, and I just got absolutely destroyed round. I think I played 3 rounds. I don't know why. I lost all of it. Well, I probably wasn't even thinking about like trying to win. But yeah, I remember like leaving that tournament in tears with my mom because I was just so upset how I just lost. It was
Can I tell you a funny story?
Go right ahead. I'm done.
Right, so
I'll wipe away my tears.
I was that guy. I was you. Let's say 10 years ago. Gosh, when did I get back and playing the game? Probably like 10 years ago. I was in college because then in college Yu-Gi-Oh was cool again. So like when I got back into the game, I remember I dusted off my old Gravekeeper deck. Like this is literally like Pharaonic Guardian, like old school. Like that's when I stopped playing the game. Right. So I literally dusted off my old deck. I put some cards together. I didn't have any of the new stuff. I was like, oh cool, synchros are a thing. And it was right when X Sabers and Infernities were the best decks. That was kind of like when I got back in the game.
Okay.
And I remember one time I played at a tournament, and here I am. I'm a 20-year-old dude, and like I think a little like 16-year-old little punk kid was like I think I just started playing the game, and he started just playing X Saber stuff, and it was like so fast, and I'm like, well, what is going on here? And the kid just 2-0'd me, and I was just like, oh my god, I feel I feel embarrassed because like this like I mean again it wasn't like the kid was 5. It probably would have been funnier if he was 5 years old, but like a little 16-year-old like little punk high school kid, like with his like hoodie over covering his eyes and everything, his long ass hair and like his little like you know like he wouldn't talk or anything. He's just like wrecking with X Sabers. I'm like, oh man, I feel like I walked away laughing like I can't believe I lost to this guy because I granted I knew I wasn't good at the game. I got back. I'm playing an archaic deck. I'm starting to get back into it. Synchros are new to me, but like it was just funny. I look back on it, and I was you, but I was the older guy getting wrecked by a younger kid, and it was just like,
that is kind of funny, yeah.
And I'm like, I think my buddy Pete got me back into the, and I'm like, Pete, what does special summon? I forget what I said. I was just like, what is this?
Synchro, what?
It's kind of like that meme. How does this guy summon 3 monsters at once? You know, that was like the whole joke. It was just. I look back on it now and I just laugh. It was all a learning experience.
But yeah, Bakugan Champions of Hysteria looks great.
Yeah, I forget what we were talking about.
Look forward to that coming later this year. Nintendo's big AAA game. Yeah. That's all they got. Definitely nothing else.
Yeah, they dropped Breath of the Wild 2. All efforts are on this game now. Bakugan Champions of Vestroia. I don't know how to pronounce it.
That's all we got for news. That's it. What'd you do with your week, Mike?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't really play any new games, and I really have to apologize because I've been meaning to get back into Subnautica. I really want to play the game. I just haven't found the time. Tomorrow, I'm definitely trying to get back into playing it because I want to get another episode uploaded to Level with me. I just want to experience it. I'm at the point where I think I mentioned before. I'm at this new biome, and there's giant like crocodile things floating out in the distance, and it's terrifying me. And I want to go see what they look like. I want to get closer to them. So that's tomorrow. That's gonna be tomorrow. What else? But I haven't. Oh, so I did want to talk about games I have played, not recently, but I want to delve into what we were talking about earlier was The Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Before I do that, I'll wrap up with what I watched. I actually am getting very, very close to the end of The Sopranos. Amanda and I we actually are up until the series finale, the very final episode we have to watch. And I will say that so far, it's been a ride. This show it had its ups, it had its downs. It had some characters that really just bothered me, and some characters that have come and gone, and I've missed them, and I miss them now that they're gone, or they were killed off, or they left, whatever. Like, the show is really good. So I will say, even though I still have the final episode to watch, the show has been awesome, and I really would recommend if anybody wants a good drama to watch, it would be The Sopranos. But yeah, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. So to talk about what I've played before in my life, a game that you haven't played. So back to it was Skyward Sword, I think is what I was talking about. And just to reiterate, we were talking about how it's one of those Zelda games that a lot of people. It's one of those games that you either love or hate. Like, it's surprisingly divisive. Like, I think if you go online and you look up like some of like the review scores, some of them say the game is like a masterpiece. All like I think IGN or some of the other like Metacritic games are giving it like 90s and stuff. Like, all incredible scores, and I see that. I do see that game being like that good. Like, kind of like but I wanted to emphasize, and this is a spoiler. This is what I'm going to tell you and the listeners to make you want to play this game if you haven't already. But The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is the very first game chronologically in the Zelda timeline, whether you care about that or not. But the cool thing is, just like Corey said, this is not a game where Zelda she's somewhat of a princess, but she's not like the princess of a giant castle and you have to go save her. It's not like that. It's not the typical damsel in distress scenario where you are obligated to go save her because you're the hero of legend, which is kind of like what a lot of times you have to do in these Legend of Zelda games, even up until Breath of the Wild. That's kind of like what the goal is. It's like if you don't do this, the world's going to end. You are the reluctant hero, I guess is the best way to describe it. However, in Skyward Sword, that is not the case, and this is one of the most endearing parts about the story is that you grow up in this town with Zelda. She is your childhood friend. Like, you've known her since you were little kids, and now that you're young adults, like you've grown up with her. And so you playing as Link, you have a lot she's borderline like your girlfriend in this game, Like, again, there's the romantic relationship is heavily implied. Obviously, it's just Link being the silent protagonist. They kind of like joke around, cutesy and everything, how she giggles around you. She clearly likes you. And then obviously the actual plot commences, and then you have to go and rescue her. And then the whole story goes on, which I'm not going to spoil for anybody, but I will say the thing is, and this is probably the part I love most about the story, is that you're not saving Zelda because you have to, because you're the hero of legend and she's the princess. You are rescuing Zelda because you want to. This is your friend who is now in danger. And you even like me as the player, and maybe I'm getting a bit like too like not emotional, but like maybe getting too energized or too passionate about telling the story. But like throughout the game, you do want to save Zelda. You keep going after her, and you keep coming across these bottlenecks and these dead ends, and you kind of get bothered. Like, no, I have to go and save Zelda. She's my friend. She's in danger. Even up until the very end of the game, it's very well done. How they make you want to play the game. You want, at least in my opinion, in my experience, I wanted to save Zelda. It wasn't like, well, that's obviously what the game wants you to do, but like it wasn't obligatory. It wasn't like, okay, this is what you have to do or the game's over. It's more like, well, this happened. Obviously, the end of the world is going to happen because of because of the plot, but like you want to save Zelda because you want to. Simple as that. She's your childhood friend. You care for her. That's why you go to save her. And that's the best way I can summarize it without really giving away the plot. But like that's probably one of the best parts about the story.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry if I was rambling and getting a little bit too exuberant, but like that's basically one of the best parts about the game, and I really have to try to emphasize that to you. Like, not saying that you wouldn't listen to me. I'm just saying that's one of the driving forces for me loving that game so much, and why I played it multiple times. Some people think it's one. A lot of people even people who hate the game have played it, and they said, "Well, this is one of those games where I can only play it once," and I just don't see that. I mean, it's a very long game too, which again, a lot of people love or hate. I think, hey, this is just one of those games where you're getting your money's worth. You get like there's so much content, there's so much to do in this game, and as you mentioned earlier, there is actual upgradable things in this game. You upgrade your weapons, your shields, some of your like the gadgets, the items that you get throughout the dungeons. You can get them upgraded in this game, which is pretty cool. Like so, there's collectibles. There's the whole like crafting, like not a true crafting system. It's more like the crafting system that you see like in Breath of the Wild, where like you get some bugs, you get some items that you pick up, and then you can make a potion or something. It's not like you can actually craft weapons like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls. But it's just there's a lot of good features in it. There's the main hub world area, which is like, up in the sky, and then you have Hyrule down below, which is actually segmented into like 3 areas. So it's not one giant map that you can go to. Like basically, you have three giant maps on the surface of the planet, the surface of Hyrule, and then if you want to get from like Faron to Lanayru or to Eldin, you have to go back into the sky and fly into the clouds, and then drop down into the other area. So maybe that I will admit that's probably one of the not in this because like I can't just go there. You can't even just fast travel. Like you can technically fast travel, but you have to go back to the clouds in order to fast travel in a way. So you're always going to the clouds, and then even when you're up, you do fly on one of those giant birds, which are called loft wings, and it is fun. I actually kind of enjoyed how, which is kind of like the giant big like hub world of the game, and it can be a little bit like tedious because if you want to get from one end of the map to the other, because there are other places in the sky, not just like the warp points that take you to the planet. I keep saying planet, like take you to the surface, but like that's where like the main central hub town is, and there's all these other little islands you can visit. So it does take time to get there because when you're in the clouds, you can't fast travel. At least I don't think you can. But it's like it's via the clouds. By way of going to the clouds is how you can fast travel to the areas below. So that's probably the one point of the game where I think I can see why people don't. But I think that doesn't like diminish all the amazing qualities of this game. And I will say I think it has great dungeons, which is probably one of the biggest things about any Zelda game. Like I don't think some of the dungeons are like some of them are okay, some of them are like hit and miss, but I don't think there's any bad dungeons, which is actually a cool thing because like there are some times where you're playing a game and you're like, oh gosh, I don't want to play this dungeon. Like there is no water dungeon or the water temple. There's no like water temple in Skyward Sword where it's like, oh my gosh, I just don't want to do this dungeon. Like to me, they're all kind of fun, and it does hold one of my favorite dungeons. My favorite dungeons in all of Zelda. It just to kind of tell you, it's called the Ancient Cistern. And there's a lot of cool lore behind this dungeon because it has a lot of symbolism and meanings to like Hindu to Buddha and Buddhism and everything. Because it basically is like a Buddhist temple mixed with a sewer, and it's a really really cool iconic temple. And again, probably one of my favorite of all time. And not only that, but it has a great boss. I don't want to spoil too much for play this game, and I don't want to spoil it for you too much, Corey. But yeah, I would highly recommend you playing this game. I know you have a backlog that's already big enough, but at some point, if you can find the time to play Skyward Sword, I really think you're going to enjoy it.
One day, Mike. One day.
That means no.
I've never even played Ocarina of Time.
That That's another one I actually have to sit down and play by myself. I never had the N64 title. I only ever had and played the 3DS title, which is good. Yeah, which is good. I mean, I think it's a very good port. I would like to play the N64 one just to experience it, because
I do feel bad because I actually just was reminded now that I think in 2018 or 17, my brother actually for Christmas got me an original cartridge of Ocarina of Time, and it did work. I tested it, so
awesome.
I guess I can play it on original hardware if I really wanted to.
I'm actually going to look up right now. See, it's funny. That's one of those games I've always wanted to buy because I just want to own the cartridge.
Exactly.
I don't know how much they cost. I don't think they're that expensive though.
Well, I mean, I'm also going to throw like a wrench into this system here, but I think there's two different versions. There's the gold cart, and then I believe there's like gray cart. And I have, I believe I have the gray cart.
I know there's the gold one. Okay, so the gold ones are $80 up and up. So, but if I do, let me see what the cheapest one on eBay is. Yep, there is a gray cartridge. Okay, and honestly, I'm fine just owning the gray cartridge. I would like to have the gold one because I'm a collector, but just to have the game, I would like to at least just own the copy of that. Oh, and Majora's Mask. That's actually one of the big ones that I have not played, and I actually regret it. And that does have a 3DS port as well, the Majora's Mask 3D. But man, that's one game that's on my to-do list. I do need to play Majora's Mask. Yeah,
I would like to play both of those because I played a lot of the 3D Zelda games, but those are the forerunners. They inspired a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of like the main reason why Ocarina of Time I think is again maybe this is just me being a typical old man. But when I look back on Ocarina of Time, even just playing it on 3DS, I can understand why a lot of people think the game is overrated. Kind of like a game like Super Metroid. I can completely understand why people think the game is overrated. I understand it, but it's just because just like I'm a Metroid fan, and if we never played Super Metroid until I was older, But I'm sure if I did own Ocarina of Time back when I was 7 or 8 years old, and it came on the N64, and I'm sure if I played it, I would have loved it, and I would have been wow, this is one of the greatest games of all time. Just like Final Fantasy VII. That was one of my first big RPG games. So when I first played that, I'm like, my God, nothing else matters. It's all about Final Fantasy. That was just one of those. It's very it imprints on you. It's very it makes you think this is one of the big building blocks of what good games are supposed to be. And I'm sure Ocarina of Time was one of those games. It was revolutionary. It was the first big 3D Zelda game. It introduced the lock-on feature, all that good stuff. But going back and playing it now, it's man, I see all the I see all the I see all the gems in this big pile of sand. But I also see all the sand around that's obscuring the gems. It's I see how this game is just very it's old. It has archaic design. It's very tedious with the control scheme. Even on the 3DS, it was kind of tedious, but it wasn't that bad. But I can imagine trying to play the N64 version and switch the infamous Water Temple, switching back and forth with the Iron Boots. I can only imagine it being terrible. But that being said, I'd like to think I'm a very rational gamer, and I can go back and play these games, acknowledge the flaws, but not make it ruin my experience.
That's usually how I am when I try to look back at old games like that. I do kind of agree with what you're saying, though. I think it's a lot of that generation of the early 3D 64 and some of the PlayStation 1 games. A lot of those games didn't necessarily age too well. Unfortunately,
that's the expression I was looking for. Thank you, Corey. I think the game aged well enough, but not it didn't age perfectly. Some of the cracks became visible.
Yeah, and it's very strange because I feel like a game like the original Legend of Zelda or even Legend of Zelda 2: Link's Adventure, the 2 on the NES. You could play those today, and they're pretty fun. They're very obtuse, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot going on there, and they don't necessarily look that bad. But yeah,
No,
that whole 64-bit era, it's like I love the N64 and its aesthetic, but yeah, those games they don't hold up, or they don't age, like I said, necessarily well.
Yeah, I would say definitely the visuals are one of the big parts of why that generation doesn't look very. Even like Sega Saturn and PS1, like, because that was like the forefront of 3D graphics. So that's why like everything was very experimental. Like the whole even just 3D platforming. Like Mario 64, I love the game, but man, when I get back and play it, I'm like the camera is terrible. The controls can be like tricky. Like, but again, at the time when it's brand new, it's like it's kind of like it's kind of like the very first time someone invented pizza. I'm sure it was like, my God, this is incredible. I can't believe we finally have this amazing invention called pizza. You know, it's covered in meatballs and it tastes amazing. And then in the future, people took off the meatballs and put on pepperoni, and they said, okay, well, let's improve this.
Why would they do such a thing?
I think it's a pretty apt comparison where, like, you can go back and say, yes, this is the very first pizza ever created. It tastes good. You still like it, but man, there's better pizza out there because
with meatballs on it.
But oh, God,
I love that. That's our running joke.
If
we ever have like merch for our channel, we're getting a meatball pizza shirt.
I gotta make that like I gotta like draw my avatar eating a meatball pizza.
I want just like a cheese pizza with like one big like buca de beppo like meatball just in the middle.
If we have any fans out there that are like artists,
do your artistic interpretation of whatever you think meatball pizza would look like.
Please just humor us and draw us draw us a graphic of meatball pizza, please. We would love it.
It gets me every time.
And he has to draw both of our avatars, like your little your little red outlined GameBroCorey and my guy just making like faces like or like the Hank Hill faces with the meatball pizza. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. So that was a long for me about the Zelda stuff.
I already see it now. Your next level with your video is going to be defending Skyward Sword.
Corey,
that's actually a great idea. I might have just blew up your.
No, Corey, that was on the back burner. That was an idea of mine. I wanted Skyward Sword because of the divisiveness.
Fair enough.
I love talking about that kind of stuff, and I really do hope one day you make a video like that for a game series that you find. Like take for example Kingdom Hearts. If you ever do want to make a video talking about the games that people hate, like I think you really will enjoy it. It's cool to express your opinions via videos. It's very fun.
Yeah, I'm actually getting some ideas now thinking about it. Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
All right. You got anything else, or should I get on to my week?
Nah, I'm all done. How was your week, Corey?
It's great. I ate 6 meatball pizzas. No. Hey, I actually watched some more stuff this week. So first of all, I started a series on Disney Plus. I heard about this on a podcast. The podcast I was listening to, they interviewed the host of the show on Disney Plus, and this is a exclusive series on Disney Plus. It's called Prop Culture. Okay. For those of you who don't know what this is, it is a show where this host will go around kind of revisiting these old Disney movies and essentially looking for props, or like whether he's going to someone's house or the Disney vault or something like that and getting different props from movies and kind of explaining the piece, talking about its significance. Sometimes he'll even bring the piece to like the actor, the creator of the movie, and it's I don't know, it's really fascinating to me. I kind of have been enjoying it. Each episode of Prop Culture takes or dives into its own Disney movie. So the first episode is about Mary Poppins. The second one is about Tron, which I really liked because that's one of my favorite Disney properties.
Interesting.
And the third one, which I half made it through. I fell asleep at the end, but it was about Nightmare Before Christmas. And again, in each of these episodes, like they go through famous props from all the movies. So like for Mary Poppins, they talk about like her umbrella, and they don't have the original piece that is the umbrella, but they have like the mold or like the prototype. And it's kind of stuff like that. For Tron, they go to like the guy who like made the whole like visuals of Tron. I forget the name of this guy, but he made like a bunch of different like sci-fi like visuals, like what he would think the future would look like in 20 years. And he's done work on many movies, not Disney related. But that was really cool. Also, I like I said, I just love Tron, so it was really neat, like learning all about that kind of stuff. And it's neat seeing these props. Like they bring out like the old like Flynn's logo for Flynn's Arcade in Tron, and like this guy like touches it up and makes it all like nice and new. They bring like the original like Frisbee discs from Tron to the creator, and he's like holding it, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't held this thing in like 40 years," and he talks about like how he like. It's really fascinating, really cool, and they're just little bite-sized like episodes. Like they're all like about like a half an hour. You know, there's like 6 of them. Again, all like diving into different like themes of just one movie. But I really enjoyed it. I'll probably finish that up by next week, maybe. I also watched 2 movies this weekend. This first one was kind of my girlfriend's pick, but I agreed I'd watch it. It's a little movie called Little Nicky. I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan, but I've been trying to like watch a lot of his like backlog, considering I really haven't seen a lot of his movies. I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. It was actually pretty good. Might be my favorite Adam Sandler movie I've seen, next to maybe like Uncut Gems or something like that. But for those of you who don't know, this movie is essentially about the children. So it starts off with this like man who's like just sitting in a tree, and he's like just being like a complete pervert.
A creeper.
Yeah, and he's like literally sitting there with like a picnic basket and like a glass of wine.
It's John Lovitz.
Yeah, it's John Lovitz, and he's like watching this like lady just get undressed in her bedroom, like as he's looking through there, being a total creep. And he unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, falls off the branch and dies and ends up in hell. And the movie revolves around the 3 sons of Satan, and one of the characters played by Adam Sandler is Little Nicky. And Little Nicky, he's kind of like this oddball character because he's like too nice. You're like, how is he actually like related to the devil? Like he doesn't.
How is he son of the devil?
He's just like a little off, but I also like love him because his bedroom's like just got posters of all like the 80s like hair metal and like 90s like grunge bands, and like even he's got like a big coat with a bunch of patches of like AC/DC and stuff all over it. So you're like, all right, I get Little Nicky's aesthetic, and he's kind of got like that like bangs from the 2000s, like that dark hair that like emo kids have, and you're just like, okay, this guy doesn't actually seem that bad. But anyways, I don't mean to get in the whole point of the movie. Basically, the 2 other brothers, well, Satan is like dying, and one of those 2 want to take over, and Satan's like, no, I want Little Nicky because he's like able to balance the good and evil, where the 2 other brothers would make it too evil.
Yeah, it was kind of like, again, I think the more of the movie was like, the devil is the devil, but he like knows
he's fair.
He's kind of like Hades from, well, Hades was like the devil too from Hercules, but like it's kind of like it's his job to be the devil. He knows it's my job to control hell, so he's not like, he is evil, but it's kind of like you say, he balances good and evil. It's like, I know what my job is, you know?
Right.
So that's kind of how it is.
But his 2 sons, Little Nicky's brothers, they don't get that. They just want to be like horrible, like devils,
right.
Like the worst of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they escape to Earth, and basically Adam Sandler's character needs to get back to Earth and try to return them to hell by drinking out of this flask that will capture them. And the movie's great. I think it like I said, the character is very genuine, or I think you said it, like Little Nicky, he's very genuine. Like I'm kind of like, this guy's the son of the devil, but it's like, it's not really that bad of a guy. Like he seems like pretty level-headed. It's not like he's doing evil shit. I feel like a lot of the jokes like hit really well. I just enjoyed like a lot of the movie. It also had really good like visual effects and makeup. All the outfits were really cool. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good gags, in there. Obviously, it's a comedy. I love every time Hitler brings his
is getting like tortured or something.
Yeah, he's wearing a nice maid's outfit, and there might be a fruit that goes somewhere. Also great, like oh no, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself to my other movie, but yeah, it was. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing out here, but it was really good. I just really enjoyed it. A lot of like things were reawakened in me, considering I had a very heavy Catholic upbringing, whereas right now I don't really like. I am an atheist right now, but yeah, I was like, oh God, like this is bringing back all my memories of what hell and heaven are, and I'm just like, ugh. Yeah, it was an interesting take. Also, you know, it was from the, when is this made? Like 2000. So of course, you know, you gotta keep your finger on the buzzer. It's like, okay, are we gonna say this movie's not okay anymore? Highly acceptable. There was no off-color joke in this movie. There's like one like transgender type character, but I think it's fine. Like I didn't think it was that bad. It was just weird, if you would even count that. But it's a great movie. I enjoyed it. And then the other movie I watched was Little Shop of Horrors. Ironically enough, I didn't realize that both these movies had the word little in both of them until right now. No reason why we watched. There was no correlation. We just picked these two movies. Anyways, for those of you who don't know what this movie is, also I'm going to spoil the hell out of this movie in the next like 5 minutes. So this movie came out in the 80s. If you don't want to get spoiled, just mute it for 5 minutes or so. But this is a movie about this man essentially finds a plant and he brings it back to this little, oh my God, what is it called? Like a flower shop. And he puts this plant in the window, and everyone starts to come in this flower shop, even though it was about to go under. And he's like in charge of taking care of it. And turns out this plant is like some sort of alien creature, and the only way to make it keep growing is to feed it blood, which escalates into humans. And it's also a musical, for those of you who don't know. It's set in the 80s. It's got, well, actually, no, it's set in like the 60s. It's made in the 80s. But it has a really good cast. You know, Rick Moranis is like the main guy. I love him. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good like cameo guests in here. John Candy, Bill Murray. Martin Short is also a like kind of a bad guy character. Oh my God, he plays like the worst fucking character. He's like this purely evil dentist that you can't write away. Oh, my girlfriend's correcting me. It's Steve Martin. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Steve
you.
Martin, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I think I saw.
I'm an idiot. Let me just put that asterisk right there. Yeah, but he's this horrible dentist character, and honestly, like, you know, Little Nicky takes place in hell, and there's like a lot of demons and awful things there, but the stuff I saw this dentist character doing scarred me way more. No one likes the dentist, and this movie emphasizes this. This character, he's literally almost like the Joker. Like, we think like Heath Ledger got inspired by this character. He would huff like the gas that they give you at the dentist, and he would like do like these weird like little laughs, and they like go in there and torture you, like drill holes in your teeth that you don't need. At one point, he has like this like horrible like machine that it's quite awful. There's this one scene that's like the camera is like in someone's mouth behind it, so you just see all their gums and their teeth. It's disgusting. Anyways,
I had a dentist like that growing up when I was a little kid.
That's horrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. He actually got like he got like a sued for malpractice and everything. Good times.
Sorry, I didn't mean to relive any of your traumatic past.
No, it's okay. I'll just have a beer and cry myself to sleep.
But yeah, like the whole movie is essentially like, again, Rick Moranis' character trying to figure out how to take care of this plant. Where at first, like, he gives him like some of his blood because he like cuts his finger when it's small, and then eventually gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But now he doesn't just want blood; he wants more. And what ends up happening is he ends up killing, what was that guy's name again? Steve Martin?
Steve Martin, yeah.
I asked my girlfriend again. She shook her head. But Rick Moranis' character tries to kill him. He kills himself, and he just brings him back to the plant and feeds him. And everyone's like, okay, who cares? Who cares that guy died? He was awful. He also was beating his girlfriend. I didn't even mention that.
So he was the character you wanted to see.
He was just a throwaway character. Like they're like you're not gonna feel sorry that this guy's dead or dies. Like he is just a horrible character. Like they easily are like, yeah, we're writing him as the worst piece of shit ever imaginable. But yeah, you know, it escalates from there. It ends up, the plant essentially ends up like, so he feeds him the dentist, then he ends up eating the owner of the store, then like his girlfriend like gets bitten and she's like, oh, just feed me the plant, it's fine. And this plant keeps getting bigger and bigger, and for some reason everyone in this century is so enamored by this plant. They're like, oh, it's the best thing ever. Oh, I love your plant in the window. I'm gonna buy 50 roses from the shop. And it's like, who really? Like a little,
despite the fact that this thing is like eating people.
Yeah, and it's like the size of like a car, like in this tiny little store. It's like so weird.
It reminds me of that Venus flytrap monster from Jumanji. That's kind of which terrified me as a kid. So that's why this thing terrifies me too from watching up horrors.
Or the obvious joke of it being a piranha plant, which it pretty much is.
Yeah.
But again, I am going to spoil the whole movie. What ends up happening is, like literally by the end of the movie, Rick Moranis is like the only one left around his little shop of horrors that he's created. His love interest got eaten. His boss, like he literally almost has like nothing. So he ends up, instead of just killing himself by jumping off a building, which he actually was going to do, he's like, I'll just get eaten by the plant. And oddly enough, like someone else like came in there and they saw like how well the plant was doing. So I guess they snipped off a little bit of the plant and like they're like, oh, we mass produced this plant. So there's just like a scene around the end of the movie where there's like a bunch of people in a store like buying thousands of these plants, and it's like, why would you even buy like 6 or 7 of these? Like who buys that many of one plant? Like it's so weird.
The government, they want to weaponize it probably.
But again, what ends up happening at the end of this movie, which is very odd the way it ends, is just this montage of these plants just huge, like kaiju huge, and they're just like destroying New York City and just running around. It's literally like a 10 to 15 minute montage of just plants busting through like buildings, explosions, rubble, people running away, panicking, and then eventually like they're on the Statue of Liberty, and you just get the end, and it's like, okay, well, guess no one had a match or a flamethrower or something. It's very open-ended. I guess it's just like, well, the world's fucked.
Yeah.
He should have never picked up the plant.
Good job.
That was an alien.
Good job, Rick Moranis. You just destroyed humanity.
He could have just kept living a horrible life in the slums, or, you know, because he was going on like all these talk shows. Everyone was like, oh, this plant's so interesting. You got to tell me about this plant, because I guess that's the only cool thing going on in the world. You know, this plant that no one knows what it is. It was a good movie, though. I liked it. The music, it was a really good like musical, too. Because I guess this is technically a musical.
Interesting.
The characters were good, too. And like I said, good cameos. I always am happy whenever I see John Candy.
Rest in peace.
Yes. Other than that, that's all I've really watched. Let's get into the gaming section here. So I continue to play more Animal Crossing New Horizons. Right now, what I'm trying to do is, with the recent update they added with the like diving for sea creatures, once a day, if you find a scallop, this one little sea otter character will come. His name's Pascal, and he'll be like, oh, I really could use that scallop, because he wants to eat it. And he's like, oh, will you give it to me? And you can't tell him no, but of course you want to tell him yes, because when you trade it with him, he'll give you either a pearl or a little do-it-yourself card, which will give you a new item that you can craft. And all the different cards that he gives you are mermaid items. So you get like a mermaid dresser or a mermaid floor or something like that. And right now it is my quest to get all the do-it-yourself cards from Pascal. I don't necessarily want to build any sort of mermaid-related items. I just want to collect them all, because at the end of the day, isn't that what Animal Crossing is all about? Just collecting things. And it's a new thing to collect.
So collecting things and weeding the garden.
Or, you know, kicking off your villagers by hitting them and literally segregating them from the rest of society.
I was gonna say, can you pull like the Sims where you can like put your villager in a pool and then remove the ladder or something like that? Or in this case, can you like put them on an island and like put them on a piece of land and then just like dig a moat around that piece of land, and they're just stranded there forever?
Kinda, yeah. You kind of just like build a fence around their house, and then they can't move, and they get mad, so they're like, okay, I'm just gonna leave, and that's how you can like kick out villagers that you don't want anymore.
So you can't request like, sir, Pascal, I really just don't like you. It's like, no, I'm just gonna be very passive aggressive and build a fence around your house.
You can also like just like, you know, when you're walking around your town, you can like bump into the villagers, and you can actually like move them a little bit if you like walk into them. And if you do that too long, they get really mad that you're like pushing them.
Yeah. Here, get closer to the cliff. Yeah, a little bit closer. Come on, a little closer.
I don't really think I have anything else to say about that. I'm trying to work on like finishing up stuff in my house, like perfecting my house. I just renovated one of my rooms. I used to have a gym, but now I think I'm going to change it to like some sort of like streaming / YouTube studio. So I'm going to work on that. I need a bunch of new like pieces of furniture though. Like I need some sort of desk and desk chair and stuff like that. So that's something to look forward to. You know, it's always good to like just check in once a day, you know, see what items are in the shop, see what clothing there is, see what special guests you have, you know. Just like it's kind of like my very like passive, like, oh, I'll play it every day for just like an hour or so just to like collect the things and then move on. It's very relaxing and fun. Other than that, we played more of Luigi's Mansion 3. We also you forgot to mention we played a little bit more Zero Mission.
That's right. I did forget to mention that. I guess because we were playing it like not that long ago. I guess I just felt like I felt like we weren't talking about it. But yeah, we did. But here, I'll let you talk about Luigi's Mansion, of course.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, I'm going to be brief here. So in our last session we played for about an hour, and we ended up defeating Paul Blart. Even though he came fully loaded with an automatic weapon.
With a super soaker.
We met Schwarzenegger. He was messing with the escalators. That rascal.
Oh, yeah.
We also met
Arnold.
We also met the Banana Ghosts. They were causing a ruckus in the pool room, throwing 8 balls and such at us. And then we also defeated Mario and Luigi's great-grandpa ghost, who for some reason kept slapping his head with a frying pan. Look forward to
that was strange. I remember I'm like, why is he doing that? Like, what does he have to gain from smacking himself in the head with a frying pan?
There was also a lot of chasing rats around. Look forward to all that coming up on the Level With Me channel in the near future. Very good game. I'm having a lot of fun with that game, honestly. It's a very good game. Also, just still amazed. Like, that game looks really good. They did a good job making that game.
Agreed.
I played some more Remnant from the Ashes as well. I fought my actual first boss. I thought I fought my first boss a few Let's Plays ago, but I would consider that like a tutorial boss, or like it's just a powered up enemy that they made a boss. Well, now I actually fought a real boss. His name was Scorch. He's a fire-breathing wood dragon. I don't know how that makes sense either. And then once I defeated him, he was pretty tricky. I don't want to ruin the fight, but he was tricky. But once I defeated him, which I did, I then proceeded to take his flaming heart and craft it into a flamethrower machine gun. And that's as cool as it sounds. That thing's really awesome. Also, I explored a labyrinth. I walked through some ancient sci-fi looking area. Kind of was reminding me of Destiny, honestly. And I made my way to the desert and fought some cave people. That game's getting real weird. There was also I think I made comparisons before to it looking like Fallout, but they're straight up like vaults. Like I went into a vault looking place in my new part I just played through. But that game's getting real fun. And having like an actual like machine gun, it just it feels so great.
Yeah, I was actually watching your couple. I'm still catching up on your playthrough.
Yeah.
I remember I remember seeing some of the so even like some of the computers and monitors reminded me a bit of Fallout too.
They're straight up like looking through the terminals and stuff like that.
It's like exactly the old school terminals. Yeah.
I definitely think the developers made a little wink and nod to that kind of stuff. But yeah, that game's great. I really enjoy that game. I like the theming of it. Like I said, like with this last part I played, I feel like it just got way more interesting because with the segments I was getting before, it was kind of like a lot of like dilapidated cities with a few like little buildings here and there, some like little overgrown or cave or sewer systems. But now I'm like literally in a whole new area. Like it's like it's given me like a Mad Max or like Borderlands type vibes where it's like a lot of desert with like dilapidated buildings. The color scheme's like different. There's a lot of cool, different, unique enemies. I also met a guy named Mudtooth. He's pretty cool. He gave me a brew which increased my health. I liked it. I don't know what it was made. I don't think I would actually accept any sort of beverage from a man named Mudtooth, but I did in the game because it's a video game. It did help me. He seemed okay. Last but not least, I was planning to play more The Last of Us Part 2 yesterday, but there's a big but. My friend pressured me into buying Master Chief Collection on PC. So, I'm playing Master Chief Collection on PC. I'm back on my multiplayer bullshit, this time with Halo. Halo Reach. Guys, it's still a good game. I haven't played Halo Reach in probably at least like 7 or 8 years. And boy, it just feels so good to get back into those matches, especially on PC. I don't mean to be this PC mustard race, but God, like 60 frames a second, like, oh, it's just so smooth. It runs really well. And
I did enjoy Halo Reach.
I don't remember if I brought this up, but I was having PC issues. But luckily, this game like isn't necessarily pushing very high limits on my PC, so I can run it and without any issues. But yeah, man, it's great. Right now on Steam, what's available is Halo Reach, Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, and the Halo 2 like anniversary remake. The Combat Evolved is also like the remade version. And I think Halo 3 actually comes out on Steam in like a week or by the end on Friday or something like that. But yeah, it's just a ton of fun to hop into that multiplayer hopper, which is really cool because it just will cycle between all the different Halo multiplayer modes. So you can be playing one match of Reach, then you can play a match of Halo 2, then you can play a match of Halo Combat Evolved, and it just keeps cycling. You can get all different types of modes. If you want to do like a big team slayer, or you want to play Griffball, or you want to play Infected, it's all there. It's all really cool. The community's still there. It feels great. There are definitely some real slayers in there who are just dominating. Like there's always one person who has like 30 kills, and then everyone else has like 5 or 6. And unfortunately, I'm not the guy who has 30 kills. Hit me up in like 2 weeks, maybe I will. Anyways, though, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it still holds up. The one thing that really just bothers me, which I'm surprised they didn't like address this anyway. Maybe they don't really know how to, or they didn't really do a lot to change the multiplayer games. But it's just really frustrating in like Halo 2 or Halo Reach, excuse me. Actually, I think this might happen in all the Halo multiplayer games. So when you like start a lobby, it's 4v4 or however many you're playing. But whenever someone leaves, there's no way for another player to rejoin. So if you just lose a teammate, you're just like fucked. Like there's no way you're ever going to get another like teammate back. So
that's funny. I never knew that. That sounds kind of like it's strange. You think that's something that they would have improved upon or fixed by now,
Yeah. So like what ends up happening out of a few matches is like maybe one enemy player will just leave for some reason. So it's a 4v3. And then eventually another enemy player will leave because they're like, well, we're already outnumbered. We're not going to win. So then it's a 4v2. And then eventually they either all end up leaving, or it's like a goose hunt for just the one player somewhere around the map. And it's like, I'm having fun playing Halo, but sometimes it's just like, man, like I just wish like they could keep the fidelity. like this doesn't happen all the time, or I wish you could just like drop it, or like they could do like the join in progress. I think they actually did address that in later Halo games. I think Halo 4 and Halo 5 Guardians does have the drop, or you can just join in progress. But yeah, it's just like that's just like a dated thing. But it just still kind of sucks. Also, like, you know, Halo, you could always like betray your teammates, so that's there. You know, that can always happen either by accident or people just being assholes. But you know, it happens every once in a while. Also, as something completely new to me, the Halo 2 remake or anniversary, where they, you know, remaster all the graphics and maps and stuff like that. The multiplayer is actually different from the classic Halo 2. I think it's more like what Halo 5 multiplayer is, if I'm guessing. But it's, you know, they added like a bunch more weapons in there, like the assault rifles in there. You can actually use the like silenced SMG from Halo 3 ODST in multiplayer, which is pretty cool. And that, for some reason, I really like that. Like, it even has like different sound effects on the weapons, but the Halo 2 like anniversary or whatever multiplayer feels really good to me. I'm really digging that too, but I'm mostly gonna just grind on Reach. I love Halo Reach. And I will also say this to preface this in advance for many, many years later, but one day I would love to do a Let's Play of some of those campaigns, because I love those campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the like multiplayer games like that, but like I've always just loved Halo for the campaigns. I've always just loved single player or co-op, you know, with like my brother playing and stuff.
Yeah, but I think I want to save like all that stuff for like one day when we can, maybe like I could play and you could record it or something like that.
Oh yeah, please!
So,
I would love to.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Even like, because there's not even like when my brother would play, like even I remember him playing like 3, and like I just said, Eric, you can just play the game. I just want to watch. Like I mean, it's not like I was like there thinking. I was like, Eric, you just play. I enjoy just watching you play the game. So that way I can criticize your terrible gameplay and be like, oh my god, how'd you miss that? Well, yeah, now that'd be kind of fun to watch you play the old school Halo games again. It'd be awesome.
And I will say, like, it's kind of really refreshing playing these multiplayer games after playing like a lot of battle royales and fast-paced stuff like Call of Duty and Apex Legends. Like, Halo is a fast-paced-ish game, but it's a different style game than Call of Duty or the battle royales. Like, there's some sort of like arcadiness to the combat. Like, it's not too serious. Like, honestly, even if I'm going like, if I'm dying every life, you know, just death. Like, I don't know, I'm still kind of having a good time just trying to get better, practicing. Hey, maybe this life I end up finding a rocket launcher and I get like a couple kills, or I don't know. I really enjoy that like arcadey, old school type of, like, I feel like we don't get a lot of games like that anymore.
Yeah, like just that trial, especially on legendary moves, just that trial and error of trying to beat the game, you know.
Yeah.
Is it? I'm sorry. Is that what you're referring to? Like you were still talking about campaign mode, right? Like,
well, I meant the multiplayer, but you're also right with the campaign. You know, when you're playing, or when I used to play like all the campaigns on Legendary, it was kind of like that. Like, you would be like, oh, I'm at a needler, and you just scramble to pick up something else on the ground to just pump damage into the brute chieftain or the hunters or whatever you're trying to destroy. You know, it was literally just like a scramble to be like, oh, what's the next weapon we get here?
Yeah, it was fun though. I enjoyed that.
But yeah, that's all I got. So we're at the end of our podcast here. Mike, do we have any questions this week?
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I don't think we do. I'm actually going to double check right now. And no, let me double check one more time. I also posted it on Level With Me story. No, guys, I'm sorry. We don't have any questions. At least not from Instagram. Do you know if we have any from our email?
You know what? Don't threat, Mike. We actually do have one question on my end.
Awesome.
So we have our question here, and I believe this user sent one in last week. Owen Reese. Let me make sure I read that right. Yes, Owen Reese. And his question this week, let me get it all queued up here. His question this week is what are our thoughts on the new Xbox and PlayStation, being the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5?
What are our thoughts on those?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little vague, but I don't know. Like, I guess you could be like, do you think they're cool? Do you,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
are you interested in buying them?
Yeah, I definitely have some thoughts on them. Do you want to start it off?
Like I said, it's a little vague, but I'll try to answer this the best that I can. I think they both look like very good consoles. Personally, I'd probably go with the PlayStation 5 just because I prefer the games that are coming out on there, the exclusives, and usually with Sony consoles, they typically have a lot more of the Japanese studios focusing on developing like them. I really like From Software and Platinum Games are like big companies that usually always pump stuff on the PlayStation systems, or like Square Enix or something like that. But yeah, I think they're both like relatively good, or gonna be relatively good consoles. Both very powerful. I honestly think they're gonna be pretty similar. Like I don't think we're really in this world anymore where there's a notable difference in quality. And I think like these two consoles are gonna be very notable. Like you saw this around the beginning of last gen where like when the PS4 and Xbox One came out, it wasn't a very significant jump. And I think that's kind of how consoles are going to be going forward now, where we're not really going to see like, oh, wow, this game looks incredible. It's like, no, it looks slightly better than what we're used to, you know? And I think we kind of have to accept that. And it's more or less like you kind of have to look for, it's not really just about like graphics. It's more or less like you got to look for other features around the consoles. So, for example, it could be like maybe what console is like your friend group getting, so you could play more games with them, or like me, like is there a console that is going to have games that you necessarily want to get more of? It could even be something as simple as like maybe you just prefer the Xbox controller to the PlayStation controller. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I think they're both like pretty good consoles. I'm excited for both of them. You know, I like PlayStation more, and I'm happy. I get more excited watching their press conference, but I still root for like Microsoft. Like I'll watch that Microsoft showcase like around the end of July. I don't really think I have anything else to add. I think I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll piggyback off what you said, because I'm actually not the biggest PlayStation fan. If anything, they're probably like my least favorite, because I just never really owned Sony consoles. I did own a PS1 and PS2, and then my brothers got the PS3 and the PS4. And how do I say this? Like, but at the same time, it's not like I've been owning all the Xbox. I mean, I only had Xbox One, and then my brother had the 360, and then he got the Xbox One. So like, I was always the Nintendo guy. I always the Nintendo consoles, but I liked seeing like, okay, well, what is the next big thing? Now that we're going to Gen 9, so okay, I do want to be I impressed by these new consoles, and I do think that kind of like what you were saying, how it's not like the jump from generation to generation just slowly starting, it's going to get smaller and smaller. Like if you go back to like Gen 4, 5, and 6, like those jumps were incredibly noticeable, like from the quality of graphics and everything. And now I do agree that nowadays, although the graphics are going to get better, like, you know, higher poly counts, things are looking more and more realistic. If that one, I forget, I think it was Hellblade or whatever the Xbox Series X game demo they showed at the Video Game Awards last year, if that's any indication of how graphics are going to be, then I will say I am impressed. It is obviously a noticeable jump, not as big as from previous generations, but these games do look better. And I think it's not just, you said, like, it's not just the graphics themselves, but I think it's all about technology improving. Now consoles have solid-state drives, which I'm pretty sure both PS5 and the Xbox Series X are going to have. So that's going to make the games run smoother. So that means higher frame rates, which also helps the game look better. And it also,
and
as you
load
said,
quicker.
Yeah, and load quicker too. It's all improved. Even just visual effects, like lighting effects. I'm sure there's all kind of crazy things that we probably can't even fathom that, like, or can all be generated by computers nowadays. You know, like better particle effects, better shadow effects, better water effects, like game physics. All these things can be improved upon. Not even just with it being better and bigger hardware, but just programmers again just getting better at what they do. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I do root for Microsoft because I don't want them to fail. But it's like I do always kind of just roll my eyes because I'm so disappointed when it's like, why don't you have more exclusives? Kind of like what you were saying. Sony has the entire Japanese market under its thumb when it comes to all the game developers, the studios. They make great exclusives for Sony. Sony owns a lot of its own good studios, so they have a lot of amazing assets. And Microsoft, being the giant company that it is, it blows my mind that the Xbox One was a relatively, I would say, disappointing system, despite the fact that there are people who are hardcore Xbox players and say, oh, it's the best, and oh yeah, and even Nintendo is a terrible, cheap console with bad graphics. It's you do realize the Switch is a incredibly much better system than the Xbox One has ever been. It already beat it in sales months ago, so it's and the Switch has so many more games. It basically comes down to the gaming library, which I do think the Xbox One lacked. It was a powerful system, just like the PS4. So it got access to all the multi-platform games. EA was all over the Xbox, but I just feel man, Microsoft mentioned before that they were buying a countless amount of studios. It almost seemed like it was it was fake. I couldn't even believe that they were buying all these studios.
Yeah.
But if they are, man, we better see some games, man. I don't want to keep saying, yeah, but we are going to have the next Madden game and the next Call of Duty. Of course you will. Of course you're going to have those games. We know you're going to have those games. But what do you have that makes me want to buy that over the PS5? That's kind of what I'm saying. What do you?
Banjo and Kazooie.
That's oh gosh, don't get me started on that. You have Rare. Why is it? Don't get me wrong. Sea of Thieves. Here's a great game, and it is one of the reasons to buy an Xbox, I guess. But that's it. It's I can't really think of that many. There aren't that many more reasons. Nintendo has countless IPs. They have all of these assets, all of these exclusives for. They have Pokemon, which is a big one. They have all Mario, Zelda. They have all their IPs. And Microsoft has them, but they don't utilize them. Oh, I saw this. It's for the listeners. Corey just showed me this. The Rare.
This is technically Rare's next project. It's called Everwild. It's looks like a open world. I don't know, RPG, action RPG. Yeah, but this is the other thing that kind of maybe this is just because of. But back in the N64 era, Rare had multiple teams working on multiple titles. They're pumping out multiple titles a year. I get it. The N64 was a whole different era of gaming. Programming was a little bit simpler, yada, yada, yada. But I get mind blown that, Rare doesn't make games anymore. It seems like they make Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves was in the works, since 2014, 2015, being teased and all. I think, here's the next big Rare game. It's an online game with your friends, blah, blah, blah. It's why aren't you making multiple games? You have Conquer, you have Banjo, Grab by the Ghoulies. Why aren't you making more games? I don't understand it. And that's just one of the studios that Microsoft owns. Why don't they have more exclusives? So anyway, if I can say anything, is I swear, Microsoft has to realize that now with the Series X coming out, and PS5 being probably its the biggest competitor, and obviously Nintendo still being a other competitor. I'm not going to act like Nintendo's not competitive. They are, but when it comes to the big multi-platform games that the PS4 can also play, it makes you feel well, then why am I playing an Xbox? What does Xbox have to make you want to buy it? I know they're saying, the next big... you have Halo. Cool. That's a great launch title for the Xbox Series X. I'm pretty sure they were going to launch it on one, and they said, no, let's push it for the X. Series X. Good move, Microsoft. Good move. Because that was probably... You need a good launch title for this console. That is an exclusive. And I really hope that they come out with some new one. Because I really don't see I have a feeling the PS5 will be probably one of the best consoles we've ever seen. Because it's powerful,
It's going to have all the new features, and it's going to have great games. I can see a PS5 having no problem with having good games. Like, it's going to have so many good available titles for you to play. I think PS5 is going to do great. Not saying I'm going to buy one because I'm just not a Sony fan, but I can say I think it's going to do so well, and Microsoft has to. They got to do something. They have to release more games. That's my thought on it.
Real quick, I also want to say he just said like what are our thoughts. I'm also going to go with just how the consoles look, and personally, this is going to be shocking, but I think the Xbox Series X looks better. It's just more like sleek. I know it's like the fridge, but I don't know. I kind of just like it being like a box. Like the PlayStation 5 is like some abstract piece of art, and I mean I don't hate that. Like it's definitely they did their own thing and it's unique.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, that thing's also a huge beast. Like I think it's the biggest video game console.
Tall.
Yeah. Also, the version with the disc tray just looks like there's like a tumor, sticking to the side of it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I will. You know what? It's funny, Corey. I'll give you the Xbox Series. Okay. Next, I'll talk about. Next, I'm going to talk about the naming convention.
Yeah.
But the look of the Xbox Series X, I think, is much more modern and sleek, and I think it works. It does. Like because in the home, if you have that on your entertainment center with TV, I think it'll blend in very nicely, which is kind of what a lot of game consoles like the PS2. Even back
it's
when
just like a black box.
It looks like a DVD player. It was shooting to so that way it doesn't look like a video game console, because like even the Xbox, as popular and as successful as it was, the Xbox was an Xbox. It was like legit a giant X. Like it clearly stood out as this is a video game. This is a video game. The GameCube, I think, even more sleek. The GameCube probably looked more like an actual. If you got like a black GameCube, it actually looked like it was like a nice little piece of furniture that can fit in on your entertainment system. But like, I will give the Xbox Series X.
The PS5 is just so like obtrusive.
It looks cool. Yeah, it looks cool, but I think it's like it's just so it stands out too much, especially with the colors too. Like if it was black, I hate to say it, but black electronics just fit in with like the living room furniture, But this thing looking like Seto Kaiba's jacket, really, why is everything chrome? It just stands out so much, and I'm sure that's part of the way that design was. I'm sure also it also delves into how the fans are set up in the thing. Like it all comes down to like their aesthetic of how they want it to look. I think it looks cool, but I do think it's gonna be tough trying to make that fit somewhere on your entertainment center. Like because how tall it is.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I got too. I got much else to say. Thank you, Owen Reese. Again.
No, wait. One more thing. I had to say.
I'm sorry.
The naming convention. I can't stand Microsoft's naming convention for this. Sorry.
Okay. So Sony got like games. Microsoft got console, like this aesthetic, and then Sony also got the name in our little checklist here.
That's 2-1. Sony wins.
There you have it. Thank you, Owen.
I was gonna say I'll give them another check. They own Rare,
okay,
which is one of the greatest gaming companies on the planet. I'm just gonna say that right now, but they're not being utilized.
I also agree with that.
God, I'm so mad about that.
Battletoads, right? Does Rare make Battletoads?
Yes. Where's Battle? Well, actually, I think they
did make a new Battle.
They did make a Battletoads game, but then I think someone told me that the game is just bad.
Finally, I can call GameStop and say, "Do you have Battletoads?" And they can say yes.
I know, and then they'll say, "Sir, we're closed."
We do actually, or they'll say, they'll say that.
You get the answer machine. It's like, sorry, we can't connect the number. And it's
this
like,
business is no longer in service.
Yeah. But you're right. You can actually now call a store and not have the associate yell at you.
They'll get mad, but they'll be like, "Oh, yes, we do."
And the game is terrible.
If you want to be like Owen, you can send us a question on Instagram, whether that be on my account, GameBroCorey, Mike's account, which is the Collector's Vault, or our Level With Me podcast account on Instagram. all that will be in the description if you guys, just want to make it easy. You can also just email us a question at levelwithmepodcast@gmail.com. Whatever works best for you. And the questions can be about video games. It could be about collectibles. It could be about movies, other like geek culture stuff. They could be about like food. Like we're not too picky. They can be about, whatever. It's just like a little fun interaction thing we do. But that being said, we're at the end of our podcast. Please go check out our YouTube Let's Play channel, Level With Me. If you're listening to the podcast, you can also listen to it there. We also have many Let's Plays going on. I am playing Remnant From The Ashes and Last of Us Part 2. I'm also playing Luigi's Mansion 3 with Mike. I'm playing in, he's kind of like watching me play it. Mike is playing Metroid Zero Mission, and I'm watching him play it. And then he's also playing Subnautica. I always forget the second part of the name.
I was going to see if you can get the name right. Below Zero.
Subnautica Sub-Zero. Fatality. And then, am I missing something? Are you playing some? No, that's everything.
No, that's it. I'm the fake gamer, so I'm only playing.
No, trust me, that you're making it easy for yourself. But that's a Level With Me on YouTube. And like I said, we also have an Instagram now for Level With Me where we post updates about when our new videos go live, as well as, like, hey, when you can send in questions. Usually it's Sunday or Monday.
That's correct.
If you want, you can personally follow me on my Twitter, my Twitch, and my Instagram at GameBroCorey. I'm thinking about maybe streaming some of the Master Chief Collection in the near future. Don't quote me on that. I am a busy man, but yeah, you might want to follow me on the Twitch. I might start doing that again. You can also follow Mike at the Collector's Vault on YouTube, as well as his Instagram, and I will have the proper like spacing of it because there's like a bunch of underscrolls. Is that how you say it?
Underscores, yeah.
Underscores. There we go.
Stupid Instagram ruining my name.
Yeah. And go check out his Metroid video if you haven't already, whether that be on his YouTube channel, The Collector's Vault, or, our combined Let's Play channel, Level With Me. It's a very good video. But with that being said, I think that's all we got for the video. Any the podcast, any final words, Mike?
No, I think that's it. Just final thoughts. Yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoy. Like, we really do enjoy doing the podcast. We hope you guys are enjoying listening to us rant and make jokes and make fun of each other and make fun of gaming companies, make fun of EA, please make sure you do follow Corey on his social media pages. Like, he's a great guy. Go check out his Twitch streams. He definitely wants. He's doing this for you guys. Believe me, he hates Twitch streaming, but he does it for you guys.
I haven't streamed in like a month or so. I want to get back into playing Smash too. Like, I might start streaming Smash again.
Okay. But yeah, and please follow us on Instagram and follow Corey on Twitter and Twitch, his Instagram. Follow us all the information will be down below in the description. And if you want to shout out, please send us a question via Instagram. Even individually, you can reach out to us on Instagram, Twitter, send it to the email. We'll get a hold of you guys, and we'll answer your questions here on the podcast, and we'll give you a shout out. Oh, by the way, did we give a shout out to Owen?
Owen Reese. Yeah, it'll be in the description. Don't worry. Thank you, Owen.
And I think that's all I have for now. So thank you guys for listening to Level With Me podcast, and I guess we'll catch you guys next week.
Charlie, what's a meatball pizza?
Oh no! I think the cat ate it.
Now I'm a big fan of cat food pizza.
Yeah. You're gonna eat the cat food, and you get really, really sick, and then you pass out in bed.
You know what's even better? Rum ham pizza. You eat your booze. Mac loved it.
Nah, that's bullshit, Frank. It's all a conspiracy by the liberals.
Rum ham. I lost it in the ocean.
Where's my bag of tamales?